The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Dominic, happy Thursday to ya.
Rudy, always a pleasure, man. I cannot wait to get going today.
Dominic, I've got to ask you a question. How should we, as citizens, react to governmental overreach, to persecution, prosecution?
What is going on in this country today, Rudy? It's really quite hard to fathom. To constantly see the headlines and see how citizens are badgered and humiliated by this government. It is striking to see, and I think everybody has to push back.
Well, Dominic, I think in this circumstance, it is appropriate to resist. Hashtag.
If not now, Crudy, when?
If not now, then when? Well, now seems as good a time as any. Hashtag Free Stormy. Stormy Daniels thrown in jail.
What?
It had to be a setup, Dom. I smell entrapment. Sure, there's bigger stories out there, but none bigger than this case of governmental overreach. Dom, this poor woman, this heroine to the resistance cause, this woman that might take down a presidency, thrown in jail for the crime of motorboating.
Out here in the open, motorboating.
I didn't know.
Motorboating son of a bitch.
I didn't know it was a crime.
Stormy Daniels arrested for hitting cops with her breasts.
Oh,
What do they like anyway? They look pretty good. Are they real? Are they built for speed or for comfort?
Update. On Thursday, prosecutors dropped charges against Stormy Daniels. Hashtag Free Stormy worked them.
Yes.
Who was cuffed for motorboating. And I read from the Daily Beast, it must be true. Who was cuffed for motorboating undercover vice cops while performing at a strip club in Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, not in my county.
In a statement, Columbus City Attorney Zach Klein said no crime was committed because Clifford, Stormy, was not a regular performer at the club. As required under the law, she was accused of violating. And here's a quote from the district attorney, city attorney, my bad. My office was not involved in this sting operation, so any additional question about it must be directed to the Columbus Division of Police. Klein added, the charges have been dismissed. Hashtag Free Stormy.
Sting operation, sir. We need an undercover cop disguised as a prostitute so we can arrest any citizens looking for cheap thrills.
I read on from this fine Daily Beast story, Dom. You like this one, I can tell. You're quite amused. Stormy Daniels was busted in a Columbus, Ohio strip club late Wednesday in what appears to be a sting by the police department's vice squad.
Freeze! You're busted, buddy. I'm a cat. It's a sting operation, scumbag.
Now, why did they ever do a show on NBC, Columbus Vice?
Maybe this is why.
The arrest came in the midst of Daniels' Make America Horny Again tour. They visited Milwaukee and Madison, Wisconsin. Well received here in the Badger State. And as her attorney continues to crusade against President Trump, the 39-year-old porn star, whose real name is Stephanie Clifford, catapulted to fame earlier this year after the press reported on her one-night stand with President Trump in 2016. They don't even say allegedly, Dom. She sued Trump and his embattled ex-attorney, Michael Cohen, to be released from a hush agreement over the alleged affair. Daniels was charged with 3 counts of illegally operating a sexually oriented business, employee knowingly touching any patron. According to Ohio state law, anyone who isn't a family member...
What?
It'd have been okay if Dad did it. Anyone who isn't a family member is prohibited from touching a nude or semi-nude performer. Court records show Daniels posted, and this is steep, Dom, a $6,054 bond wasn't entirely in singles.
Garbage bag full.
She is expected to plead not guilty, and an arraignment is scheduled for Friday morning. Well, that's unnecessary, as we know at this point.
They dropped the charges.
Yes. Free Stormy, her attorney tweeted out as such. As a result of what happened last night, I will unfortunately be unable to go forward with tonight's scheduled performance.
But update, breaking news, she will be performing tonight.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Hashtag Free Stormy works.
Now, we have a sister station, as Earl likes to say, in Columbus, Wisconsin. Should we get in a fast car and drive to Columbus, Ohio, maybe make the big show tonight, Tom?
Wrong, Columbus. Crudy from the Washington Post, a much more reputable news outfit.
Then the Daily Beast? Come on, man. Maybe a close second.
Samantha Schmidt, Lindsay Beaver from the Morning Mix.
What was her name?
Bever. During Daniel's 11:30 p.m.
nice
performance,
Beaver. Thanks, I just had it stuffed.
The report states people in the audience began throwing dollar bills at Daniels while topless and wearing a G-string. She allegedly began forcing the faces of patrons into her chest and using her bare breast to smack patrons.
I'm doing that to the microphone right now.
I will never
What'd you do with them? Motorboat? You play the motorboat?
She was also accused of fondling the breasts of women in the audience, according to the report.
Hashtag me too.
2 police detectives and an officer in the club, that's 3 cops, in the club noticed what Daniels was doing and approached the stage, according to the Washington Post.
Undercover, right? Clandestine.
As she performed in front of a female detective, the report states, Daniels leaned over, grabbed the detective's head, and began smacking her face with her bare breasts and holding her face between her breasts against her chest. She allegedly performed the same acts on a male detective and a 3rd officer, according to the report, and began fondling that officer's buttocks and breasts.
Oh, slow down. So, when you see it happen to your colleague, the 1st officer, you got the incriminating evidence you need. And then a 2nd officer. But by the time you're the 3rd officer, that's going to be hard to explain to the wife. Honey, I'm just doing my job here.
I find it sexy.
Another police detective who was standing near the bar area, that sounds like 4 cops, saw it all happen, according to the police report. That detective left the club to request help from from patrol in arresting Daniels and 2 others who are identified in the report as a dancer and a server.
Are you kidding me? The man felt like this cop, this 4th cop who witnessed the motorboating of the prior 3 cops and the molestation of some buttocks. The 4th cop called for backup. We need a backup here. I mean, really, who calls for backup? She's naked. There's no concealed weapons here.
They're not concealed weapons, but they're still weapons.
Freeze! You're busted, buddy. I'm a cat. It's a sting operation, scumbag.
14.
Sir, some of us are wondering if maybe you're not taking this role a bit far.
What? No way.
Yes, I think so. And for all those fine folks out there who don't know the reference, that's a South Park, one of my favorite episodes, Butter's Bottom Bitch, but you can go check that out on Hulu. But trust me, it's worth a watch. And it really kind of leans into this, Crudy, you brought it up. Once it's done once, you don't need to go through 3 motorboats. You know what I mean? The other 2 guys, well, they're just a little off the record doing it for fun.
Is a complete lack of respect for the law.
And what I would say overall, if the city attorney didn't send these guys out on this sting operation, Dom, what were 4 vice cops doing at the Stormy Make America Horny Again show? A, Trump backers, or B, just curious like the rest of us.
And they dropped the charges.
Because she didn't violate any laws, although quite incestuously weird that it would have been okay if a family member had touched her nude or semi-nude body.
It's totally fine.
As long as it's the stepdad?
Oh, no.
I've seen Stormy in a few of those movies.
Well, Donald might be called Daddy.
Now it's more likely she the stepmom.
The Ohio Strip Club law prohibiting the touching of dancers, the Community Defense Act, was proposed by a Cincinnati-based conservative religious organization and approved in 2007. But according to a Columbus Dispatch article in September of 2017, the law has rarely been used since then. A spokesman for the Franklin County Sheriff's Office could find no instances in which the 2000 law had been used, he told the newspaper.
You know what? I think Stormy, on her Make America Horny Again tour, I think she's got a new sponsorship opportunity. Dom, Evan Rude Outboards.
Why not Mercury?
Be a good fine Wisconsin
Mercury
company.
Marine, that's right.
I mean, that's a motorboat, and you should be able to get behind Mercury Marine, Evan Rude. That's the only 2 I know, Dom, so I'll stop with the motorboat references. We are the devil's advocates.
This is what our governmental resources
Sir, some of us are wondering if maybe you're not taking this role a bit far.
What? No way.
But she's a witch. Burn her anyway!
You motorboating son of a bitch.
On marijuana, unfortunately, it's a public health issue and a public safety issue. I've opposed that.
Dr. Sanjay Gupta, how can medical marijuana help those addicted to opioids?
There's 3 big things. There's clear consensus now that cannabis can treat pain. That is not an opinion. That is a consensus conclusion by big scientific bodies like the National Academy of Science. We also know that it can help treat the withdrawal symptoms of opioids. People, they don't want to be on them anymore. They want to quit, but they develop the terrible withdrawal symptoms. And now we have evidence that it can actually help heal the part of the brain that is diseased in someone who's an opioid addict. If you had to start from scratch and design a substance to help lead us out of the opioid epidemic, like in a lab, it would probably look very much like cannabis.
Call Governor Scott Walker at 608-266-1212. Tell him good people do smoke marijuana. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
J.D. Davis Funeral Home, located at 4803 West Burlott Street, is dedicated, dignified, and distinguished in serving you in your time of need. Direct cremation specials starting at a very low cost of $595. That does not include cremation permit or crematory fee. Traditional funeral packages starting at $1,995 with a 20-gauge metal casket included. Title 19, Milwaukee County General Assistance accepted. Call today, 414-444-8300.
the Devil's Advocates.
James Santel, he's a former U.S. attorney. He's our guest live on Brady.
Once again, a pleasure to be with you, gentlemen, to talk about the latest news breaking as we speak.
The FBI raided Michael Cohen, Trump's personal attorney, but once they got there, then they went back and got a more thorough warrant and said, we'll take everything.
My first reaction is you need to teach criminal constitutional law. You've got it just right in terms of the process.
They are kind of a big deal.
This is a really big deal.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property, or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
You wanted to see me?
Yes, please, have a seat. So here's the thing. When this company brought you on, we took a chance on you. You didn't have that 4-year college degree we typically look for.
Right.
But we gave you a shot anyway. And since then, you've worked incredibly hard and given it your all.
Thanks.
You've been an important asset to the team, but I don't think you can be an intern here anymore. We want to hire you.
You're serious?
Absolutely.
Find your next great employee. Introduce yourself to the Grads of Life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
I won't let you down.
I know.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
I'm jumping in with my clothes on.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Join the resistance against dirty carpets. Call Zero Res Madison today for our summer special. Clean and sanitize 3 rooms for only $139. Call 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
Women want them. Men want to be them. Tom and Crute are the Devil's Advocates.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, streaming live on the Facebook and YouTube pages. You can hit us up on the Twitter feed at Devil Radio. And the party line is always open, 844-967-2789. Talk or text.
You know, the funniest part about us leading with Stormy Daniels today, there is a clear political lead today. We didn't have to go there. It just seemed most pleasurable for my little buddy if we did.
You know, man, sometimes it gets a little heavy. It gets a little hard sometimes. And so when we're able to lighten it up a little bit.
Oh, I was going to say easy on the hard references.
Yeah, but ultimately, what does it really, really say about the use of governmental resources to harass Stormy Daniels? Because that's really all they did. 8 cops in the strip club. 3 of them got motorboated, and then they finally call it in. You know what I mean?
I've been abused. It's got to be criminal. Please do it again.
And look, I've been to a few strip clubs in my day. And
really?
It is not uncommon for the patrons, male or female, to take their currency and put it in their mouths and deliver it to the performer. And the performer will take said currency with their breasts. And sometimes give you a little shake, or one of the slap you with their breasts, as the report said. 3 of them. And then they call it in. I mean, isn't the first time?
One more to be sure.
Right. Wait. What was that? Oh, was that harassment? Oh my God.
4th time's the trick. 5th time's the charm.
844-9.
Call the station house. See if anybody else is coming down.
Seems a little off the books, man. I'm telling you. 844-967-2789. Let's get a caller.
Yeah, hell, why should we jump into the politics now? Let's get to the callers.
Yes, Mark. Hey, what's up, man? How you doing today?
Well, a couple of the serious or the levity first. That on a serious note, I would think that the Ohio police should be maybe investigating the athletic coaches out there, considering what Jim Jordan was covering up.
Maybe investigating Jim Jordan.
Yeah, maybe that. And the other thing is, those breasts can be dangerous because if you've ever seen the scene from Everything You Always Wanted to Know About Sex But Were Afraid to Ask, The Attack of the Killer Boob, you guys might not be familiar with
I
that.
have seen that movie, the tremendously giant breasts.
And those things can be dangerous if you believe that, but that came to mind. I mean,
Well,
maybe
similar. Stormy Daniels, those cannot be real. Augmented by the best of science, but they are similar in size to those in that old Woody Allen movie.
Well, not quite as.
Not quite, but it's close.
Not quite, but I was hesitated to send the clip of that.
Now, do you think any of the cops will?
Would want to do it.
You think any of the cops will try to file a whiplash claim against Stormy?
I think if they did that, their wives might be unhappy with them.
Well, one more. I want to get your thought on this, Mark. What about the fact that it took 3 episodes of motorboating, apparently, before they finally got the 4th vice detective to walk outside and call for backup?
And it also begs the question, was she motorboating for free, or were they holding out currency?
Well, that's the point. And I think everybody wanted to get a turn of motorboating there before they, because this is something they can brag to their friends about, is that they, got motorboated by Stormy Daniels, I suppose, until, and then we gave her a ticket.
Dominic would put that on his tombstone someday.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. It's pretty hilarious that because that kind of stuff goes on in the strip clubs all the time. I mean, I'm just surprised that it's.
Or so you've heard, Mark.
That's what they say.
So I've heard, yes.
Thanks, Mark.
Dominic took me to a strip club for my bachelor party before I got married 16 years ago.
You're welcome.
Paid extra. So the strippers would beat the living snot out of me
I
with my own belt.
I didn't know that was going to happen, but it was quite amusing.
The only thing that made it tolerable, because, I nearly was waterboarded and worse. The girl would climb the pole and drop from the ceiling on my lap.
Full on.
And the only thing that possibly made me not want to rip your head off, you were laughing your ass off, man. You were rolling on the edge of the stage. Folks, we're the Devil's Advocates. Dom enjoys my pain. Come back with us. 844-967-2789. Share my pain.
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
You motorboating son of a bitch.
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
Oh, not in my county.
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
Boy, this looks like very big stuff.
Join the resistance against dirty carpets. Call Zero Res Madison today for our summer special. Clean and sanitize 3 rooms for only $139. Call 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
Steven.
Who said that?
Me, down here.
Ugh, what are you, a yellow booger?
I'm a banana slug, Steven.
What are you doing in my room?
I'm your sense of adventure. It's been a long time since we've had an adventure in the forest.
Mom took me to the forest last year.
I'm a slug, Steven. It took me a long time to get here.
You're right. I should get out.
Yeah, the forest is not that far away.
Hey, Mom!
Come to the forest where the more adventurous you lives. Check out discovertheforest.org for cool places nearby. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Indoor baseball, anyone?
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
It's hard to dream when you're fighting for 15. This is Pizza Box Mike for Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Check out fightfor15.org to get involved in the fight for 15.
So, Jesse, why should someone buying a home pay for an agent when they can go online or call the number on a for sale sign?
Great questions. First of all, never call the number on a sign to see a home. That's the seller's agent, and they don't represent your interests. If they show you a home outside of an open house, you forfeit your ability to have someone negotiate in your corner at no cost to you.
Well, with interest rates still at historic lows, how can buyers still get a great deal and protect their rights?
Step 1, find a buyer's agent that you trust. Your agent will best find the home that fits your needs, anticipate problems, and negotiate on your behalf from offer through closing day. And most home listing contracts stipulate that the seller's agent pays for the buyer's commission.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, they're honest. Whether buying or selling in Madison or Dane County, call Solidarity Realty, 608-284-9311, or find them at solidarityrealty.com.
180 over 111, and I had a stroke. I couldn't speak or walk.
150 over 90, and I had a stroke.
This is what high blood pressure sounds like. You might not feel its symptoms, but the results from a stroke are far from silent. Get back on your treatment plan or talk with your doctor to create a plan that works for you. Go to loweryourhbp.org.
Head to toe, everything's changed.
Brought to you by the American Stroke Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
The Devil's Advocates.
My Congresswoman, Gwen Moore.
I think that you guys are filling a very important space. I think African Americans consume radio at a very high rate. And they really rely on radio for information. And so, word of warning to all those candidates out there, don't ignore these inexpensive ways to advertise.
Well, wait until we get our FM. They're going to get more expensive all the time.
Radio for the 99%.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. Firefighter Corey Barr, a Madison area realtor and owner of the business that exploded in Sun Prairie on Tuesday, died from the injuries he sustained in that blast. Barr was the owner of the Barr House in Sun Prairie. That building was leveled and several others nearby were severely damaged. And tomorrow evening is the first River West food truck rally in Milwaukee's River West neighborhood. The rally will take place at the Goat Palace, located at 3740 North Fratney Street. In addition to 8 food trucks, the rally will also feature beers from 4 of River West's craft breweries. The first River West food truck rally will take place from 5:30 to 9 tomorrow evening. Outside this afternoon, partly sunny with temperatures in the mid-80s, and then partly cloudy tonight, lows around 70. You're listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for those meddling Devil's Advocates.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Dom, we're going to get to the bottom of secret societies and the FBI guy that, single-handedly stopped the Trump presidency.
Yeah, that guy?
Peter Strzok. Or as the plumb line, Paul Waldman describes it at the Washington Post, the Peter Strzok fiasco wrecks the GOP's bogus conspiracy theory. There are times when you watch what's happening in American politics and come to believe you've fallen through a rabbit hole to a place where everything is upside down. Today was one of those times, as FBI agent Peter Strzok testified in a public hearing before the House Judiciary Committee. Let's not forget the Republicans control that. The latest chapter in a saga of Republican attempts to prove that any and all investigations into Russia's attempt to manipulate the 2016 election and Trump's campaign's eager cooperation with that effort is a witch hunt. As you know, Strzok was one of the key agents involved in investigating Russian interference. And in 2017, he was assigned to Special Counsel Robert S. Mueller III's inquiry into the Russian scandal. However, when Justice Department officials saw text he exchanged with Lisa Page, an FBI lawyer with whom he was having an affair, in which they disparaged Donald Trump, Mueller removed him from the investigation. Seems like case closed right there, right, Dom?
One would think.
Oh, no. To Republicans, those text messages are the smoking gun that proved Trump is utterly blameless and the entire investigation into him was tainted from the start and must be shut down. But there's only one very important fact that we have to keep in mind, one that Strzok made in his prepared statement today. In the summer of 2016, I was one of a handful of people who knew the details of Russian election interference and its possible connections with members of the Trump campaign. This information had the potential to derail and quite possibly defeat Mr. Trump, but the thought of exposing that information never crossed my mind. This is at the core of what makes Republican effort to discredit the Russian investigation so utterly insane. They want us to believe that there was an FBI conspiracy to prevent Trump from being elected president. And what did that conspiracy do? First, it mounted a cautious investigation of what nearly everyone now acknowledges was a comprehensive effort by Russia to help Trump get elected, an effort that people on the Trump campaign and even in Trump's own family tried to cooperate with. But then it kept that investigation completely secret from the public, lest news of it affect the outcome of the investigation in any way. You will notice that Republicans have not been able to produce any evidence that Strzok or anyone else took any official action that was biased, unfair, or inappropriate in their investigation of Russian interference in the Trump campaign. Even if you were to set aside the fact that the director of the FBI quite possibly threw the election to Trump when he violated FBI protocols and announced 11 days before the election that the Bureau was reopening the investigation into Hillary Clinton's emails. The idea that the Bureau attempted to hinder Trump's election isn't just unsupported by any evidence, it's contradicted by everything they did, Dominic.
And that's what you have to keep in mind as you watch these ludicrous hearings and everything else the Republicans do with regard to this issue. They've proven that Strzok didn't think highly of Trump. Fair enough. We should note, however, that while we have seen Strzok's private text messages because they were released by the Justice Department, we have no idea whether other FBI agents were texting each other, say, about Hillary Clinton. We do know, on the other hand, that as one report said, just before the election, deep antipathy to Hillary Clinton exists within the FBI. Multiple Bureau sources have told The Guardian, spurring a rapid series of leaks damaging to her campaign just days before the election. As one agent put it at the time, the FBI is Trump land. Trump land seems a little opposite of what the Republicans on this committee are asserting.
Intellectual curiosity or consistency, never a pre-requirement of being a Republican, Dom.
So that's an example in which FBI agents actually did things to help Trump during the election. But that's not what Republicans are investigating, which might suggest, and hold on while I blow your mind, that the GOP aren't actually concerned broadly with the integrity of FBI investigations. So today we saw, for instance, Rep. Trey Gowdy badgering Strzok about the meaning of individual words in his late-night text messages with his girlfriend, using Gowdy's patented prosecutorial techniques of shouting a question at the witness, and then, when the witness begins to answer, interrupting and shouting a different question at a louder volume. Unsurprisingly, the hearing quickly devolved into a circus, with members yelling at each other, overlapping points of order, and a general sense of chaos. Boy, Putin is really happy today, isn't he?
Dom, I love a circus.
At one point, when he was finally allowed to give a complete answer to a question, Strzok somewhat angrily explained why not only didn't he do anything to unfairly twist the investigation into Russian meddling, he couldn't have even if he wanted to. He began by referencing a text he sent to Trump, sent after Trump had started a fight with the Gold Star family, one of the low points of the campaign, predicting that Trump would lose. Quote, "You need to understand that was written late at night, off the cuff, and it was in response to a series of events that included then-candidate Trump insulting the immigrant family of a fallen war hero, and my presumption based on that horrible, disgusting behavior that the American population would not elect someone demonstrating that behavior to be president of the United States. It was in no way, unequivocally, any suggestion that me, the FBI, would take any action whatsoever to improperly impact the electoral process for any candidate."
Now, I want to slow you down right here, Dom, because this conclusion also from the statement of Strzok today, listen closely. All you conspiratorial, tinfoil hat wearing conservatives that say, oh, it's all in there. Well, Dom, read the next paragraph.
Well, we have some sound here.
We have the sound.
Let's set
this
up a
was
little bit.
From his statement, right?
This is. Let's play a little bit of the Gowdy interchange. You can see and hear for yourselves how snarky. And a couple of D-Bag awards.
It goes a little beyond snarky.
A couple of D-Bag awards are going out today. Trey Gowdy gets one of them.
Don't forget Louis Gohmert.
I didn't hear Gohmert today, but I did.
Gohmert told Strzok he needed his medication.
And Jim Jordan, the guy from Ohio who apparently maybe
looks the other way when people are fondling or
sexually getting abused at the college. Yeah, that guy. 2 D-Bag awards going on. Actually, I got some sound of Jim Sensenbrenner today, but let's get back.
You throwing him in column?
Dude, I mean, yes.
Sensenbrenner gets the third coveted D-bag award of the day?
He is it's terrible. And he tries to pull out a Trump, be a little snarky. He falls flat on his face. He's an embarrassment to the state of Wisconsin. But I digress. Let's hear some of the back and forth with Gowdy today, cut 80.
He thinks promising to stop someone he is supposed to be fairly investigating from ever becoming president isn't bias. He thinks talking about an insurance policy to keep someone from becoming president isn't bias.
Now, I'm not clear when exactly the law was passed that individuals, as an individual right in this country, cannot have political opinions. The question becomes, do those opinions impact their professional life? I guarantee you every single person in the FBI and every organization, public and private, they have an opinion about something. That doesn't mean they can't do the job. Hell, what do you think they're going to say about this U.S. Supreme Court candidate, Kavanaugh? The same thing. Well, he has opinions, but it's not going to impact his judgment, right? Let's continue. Cut 81, Gowdy.
Strzok even talked about impeachment the day special counsel was appointed. That is prejudging guilt, it is prejudging punishment, and it is textbook bias.
Says Trey Gowdy. Let's continue. And we'll give Strzok, we have an opportunity. He'll bring up the last cut here, but let's continue on with Gowdy's badgering.
Do you remember how long it took for you to start talking about impeachment after Bob Mueller was appointed?
I don't, sir.
1 day. 1 day. And you were talking about impeachment.
Yeah, well,
evidence must be pretty overwhelming.
I mean, they just did appoint a special prosecutor. Presumably, there's something to look at. But again, these are communications, electronic pillow talk between two lovers who happen to work at the FBI. This isn't a conspiracy, a deep state conspiracy.
Secret societies.
As perhaps Senator Johnson would say. Let's go.
He was referencing these very emails when he claimed the secret societies.
Let's do one more, Gowdy.
And your testimony is Bob Mueller did not kick you off because of the content of your text. He kicked you off because of some appearance that he was worried about.
Sure. My testimony, what you asked and what I responded to, was that he kicked me off because of my bias. I'm stating to you it is not my understanding that he kicked me off because of any bias, that it was done based on the appearance. If you want to represent what you said accurately, I'm happy to answer that question, but I don't appreciate what was originally said being changed.
I don't give a damn what you appreciate, Agent Strzok. I don't appreciate having an FBI agent with an unprecedented level of animus working on 2 major investigations during 2016.
And I don't appreciate Trey Gowdy, who, I mean, if anyone watched the Benghazi hearings and the 4-year investigation, you've got no room to call anybody out on anything. Right. You have been the most partisan investigator of all time, Trey Gowdy. Where are the Benghazi charges? What was that 4 years all about, if not political kabuki theater?
And finally,
I don't give a damn what you think you are entitled to.
And Strzok finally gets a chance to respond. Hear his response to Gowdy. Here we go.
Sir, I think it's important when you look at those texts that you understand the context in which they were made and the things that were going on across America. In terms of the text that we will stop it, you need to understand that that was written late at night, off the cuff, and it was in response to a series of events that included then-candidate Trump insulting the immigrant family of a fallen war hero. And my presumption, based on that horrible, disgusting behavior, that the American population would not elect somebody demonstrating that behavior to be president of the United States. It was in no way, unequivocally, any suggestion that me, the FBI, would take any action whatsoever to improperly impact the electoral process for any candidate. So I take great offense and I take great disagreement to your assertion of what that was or wasn't. As to the 100 million to 1, that was clearly a statement made in jest and using hyperbole. I, of course, recognize that millions of Americans were likely to vote for candidate Trump. I acknowledge that is absolutely their right. That is what makes our democracy such a vibrant process that it is. But to suggest somehow that we can parse down the words of shorthand textual conversations like there's some contract for a car is simply not consistent with my or most people's use of text messaging. I can assure you, Mr. Chairman, at no time in any of these texts did those personal beliefs ever enter into the realm of any action I took. Furthermore, this isn't just me sitting here telling you, you don't have to take my word for it. At every step, at every investigative decision, there are multiple layers of people above me, the assistant director, executive assistant director, deputy director, and director of the FBI, and multiple layers of people below me, section chiefs, supervisors, unit chiefs, case agents, and analysts, all of whom were involved in all of these decisions. They would not tolerate any improper behavior in me any more than I would tolerate it in them. That is who we are as the FBI. And the suggestion that I, in some dark chamber somewhere in the FBI, would somehow cast aside all of these procedures, all of these safeguards, and somehow be able to do this is astounding to me. It simply couldn't happen. And the proposition that that is going on, that it might occur anywhere in the FBI, deeply corrodes what the FBI is in American society, the effectiveness of their mission, and it is deeply destructive.
I think that kind of shut the Republicans up. Of course, they did more theater. They're still doing theater. Right now, Peter Strzok still being questioned on the witness stand, Don, but many of the times they didn't even want an answer. Let me throw one out. We watched big chunks of the testimony, but not the entirety. Here's what Louis Gohmert said. The goober, Gohmert. You know that guy, perhaps, next to Grothman.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll call Gohmert the second worst congressman in America. Here's what he said today. On Thursday, Congressman Louis Gohmert seemed to lose it while questioning FBI agent Peter Strzok, demanding to know whether Strzok had lied to his wife. I can't help but wonder when I see you looking there with your little smirk, how many times did you look all innocent in your wife's eyes and lie about Miss Page? He yelled to know before getting shouted down by Democrats. Gohmert's probe into Strzok's marriage elicited a prompt reaction from the internet, including Fox News' Brent Hume, Droopy Dog, that guy. I did not think it possible anyone could make Peter Strzok seem like a sympathetic figure in this hearing, but Louis Gohmert did. His behavior towards the witness was bullying and insulting and elicited no information. Kind of like the rest of this hearing, as near as I can tell, Don.
Wrapping up the Paul Waldman piece, you have to ask, and you have to keep asking, what do Republicans think the FBI actually did to effectuate this anti-Trump conspiracy they say existed to deny him the presidency? Because the facts here on planet Earth show they did what they were supposed to do. They began an investigation into this profound threat to American democracy, but kept quiet about it so it wouldn't affect the election. Especially in contrast to how Clinton was treated. That was either an extraordinary gift to Trump, or it was them doing their jobs precisely how they should have, but it can't be anything else.
You and Paul Waldman, not entitled to opinions, Dom. Just do your job. No opinions necessary.
You look into your wife's eyes. What does she say? What?
If I were Peter Strzok, I would look back at him and say, at least I got a wife. And you, Grothman.
She says.
Someone close to the president needs to get everyone connected with that campaign in a room. From the time you saw Dr. Zhivago until the moment you drank vodka with a guy named Boris.
I would rather you just said thank you and went on your way.
Lock her up, lock her up.
Hi, Resistance Radio listeners. This is Kim Schrader, the president of the Milwaukee Teachers Education Association. We are the 4,600 educators who make Milwaukee's public education system possible. MTA members are the guardians of public education because every single day we are fighting to strengthen and protect public schools our students deserve. MTA educators are leading the fight in Milwaukee Public Schools for smaller class sizes, more recess, physical education, art, and music opportunities for every child in MPS. MTA educators are the champions for healthier school meals, positive discipline practices, equitable schools, and schools that partner with parents. MTA members are the guardians of public education, and we are proud to teach all children, regardless of their zip code. To learn more, follow us on Facebook at the Milwaukee Teachers Education Association.
I'm Andy Buck, Field Representative with Painters and Allied Trades of Wisconsin. It's an issue that brings constant challenges for building contractors. How to find qualified painters, glazers, and drywall finishers. IUPAT knows what you want. A professional job performed by skilled workers who care about safety, training, and finishing strong. Workers who are reliable and ready on demand. Let IUPAT provide the people power that you need. You'll feel confident the job is finished right. Connect at IUPATDC7.com and finish strong.
Hi, I'm Anton Capella. As Chief Technology Officer at Five Nines, I work hard to be a leader in my industry, and I know the challenges posed by changing technology. It's my priority to make sure your network is up over 99% of the time. There's no question, trying to manage your own business IT is risky, costly, and time-consuming. Don't let IT overwhelm you. Learn more about Five Nines at fivenines.com. That's the number 5, NINES.com.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
I'm afraid right now for the future of my children's generation and those to come.
In this age of mass school shootings, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker offers the same bold agenda of the National Rifle Association.
Make sure you remember in your thoughts and more importantly in your prayers.
While Walker offers platitudes, he blocks meaningful gun safety legislation.
It's really an honor to work with the NRA, not only in my state, but across the country. And I'm proud of my A+ ranking as a governor.
Walker weakened the gun laws in Wisconsin, and then he got $3.5 million worth of NRA support.
There have been men and women of courage who've been willing to stand up and think more about the future of their children and their grandchildren than they thought about their own futures.
Scott Walker, you are not one of them. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
It's a lot easier to measure how many times students use a semicolon correctly in an essay.
Educated educators talking education.
Than it is to measure how many wonderful ideas are in that essay.
Busted Pencils.
There is no teacher shortage.
With Dr. Tim Slecker.
There is a teacher exit.
Featuring Matt Damon's mom.
You want to know what my mom would say?
We've had an intrusion into education.
Busted Pencils Radio. Saturdays at 11 on Resistance Radio.
The Devil's Advocates. Political commentary from the back of the class.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. Phone lines open 844-967-2789. Crudy, we talked about Louis, your pal, Louis, your buddy Louis Gohmert.
More like Grothman's buddy Louis Gohmert.
Fancy Brian did track down some of that sound. It is quite... It's a crap show, let's just say that. Let's play it for the people, if you would, please, Brian.
And I can't help but wonder, when I see you looking there with a little smirk, how many times did you look so innocent into your wife's eye and lie to her about Lisa?
Mr. Chairman, this is outrageous.
The credibility of a witness
Shame
is always
on
an issue.
Mr. Chairman, please,
have
you
no
Mr.
Chairman, this is intolerable
harassment of the witness. What is wrong with that? You need your medication.
Gee. God,
take a chill pill, Louie.
Democracy is certainly ugly to watch, I guess. We talked about it. We have a couple minutes left here. Jim Sensenbrenner going back and forth today. Let's play
your buddy Jim,
our pal Jim Clinton. Extremely. Let's do cut 4. Clinton get out of jail free regarding the terminology of being careless or gross negligence. Cut 4.
And so, sir, if I may quickly, and I promise I'll
well,
take
so
my time.
let me say this change was Hillary's get-out-of-jail-free card, right?
Absolutely not, sir.
Well,
not in any way.
Hillary hasn't been prosecuted, so if she wasn't grossly negligent but was extremely careless, then there's no criminal standard involved. With grossly negligent, there is.
Sir, I think there are a lot of things I would disagree with in that assertion. First is she received no get-out-of-jail-free card. We pursued the facts.
Well, she did get a get-out-of-the-White House free card when the voters cast their votes.
Sir, I've heard that said a lot, and I can tell you there's nothing further from the truth.
Oh,
there was an effort
Trump won. That's the truth.
Hey, I tell you what. You can take a good look at a butcher's ass by sticking your head up there, but wouldn't you rather take his word for it?
What the hell is Sensenbrenner talking about? He shoots out some snarky remark. Strzok stays on point of the question regarding gross negligence or extremely careless. And Sensenbrenner thinks he's talking about whether or not Trump won. Sensenbrenner, it's not 1976, man. It's time to give up the gavel. Get your old ass out of the chair. Retire, sir. You are not Trump. You are not smart. You are nothing more than a snarky man who is not doing any service to the people to whom you represent. Go away, sir.
Tom Pelzowitz, his opponent. Tom, the Democrat, in the 5th CD. I want to consider tuning in to the Big Stu Show on Sunday. Stu Band PM, 4 to 6 p.m. will include Tom Pelzowitz this weekend. Come back, Devil's Advocates, Hour 2. It starts right now.
But there's been no collusion, no obstruction, and virtually everybody agrees to that.
You motorboating son of a bitch.
Brad Zog, owner of Zero Res Madison, resisting dirty carpets and harsh chemicals. Brad, why should people use Zero Res Madison?
Why wouldn't you clean your carpets like this? We're not using any soaps. We're not using any chemicals. We cost about the same as the other guys. You look at it and you go, where's the downside? You got a completely green clean. That's awesome. We guarantee it. There's no downside.
There's no downside. Use Zero Res. Call Zero Res today. 608-848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it forward or backward. It's the right way to clean.
Bark and Scratch Outpost.
Our friendly staff is available 7 days a week to show you a variety of high-quality, local, and national brand pet foods. Be sure to visit our freezer area for a large selection of diets and bones. Bark and Scratch Outpost, 5835 West Blue Mound Road. Leashed pets are always welcome. At Bark and Scratch Outpost, we think outside the bag.
Come on down, you will see. We do it naturally. MilwaukeePetFood.com. Bark and Scratch Outpost.
Here in the Badger State, we have our own expressions. When we're looking to go on vacation, we state, well, let's go up north. Hello, this is Tom Bennett, president of Teamsters Local 200. Here in the Badger State, we also have another expression, union yes. The strength of the labor movement depends on elected officials here in Wisconsin and Washington, D.C. that support the values of working families that raise the standards for all. Give us a call at Teamsters Local 200 at 414-771-6363 or visit our website at www.teamsterslocal200.com or on Facebook at Teamsters Local 200. Be engaged.
Jeff's Guitar Clinic is a multifaceted shop offering guitars, amplifiers, and all accessories, guitar lessons for all ages, and instrument repair of the highest quality. Jeff'sGuitar.com.
5 your local single-source IT solutions provider, specializing in cloud technology, consulting, servers, networks, and hosting. We manage your IT so you can focus on running your business. Enjoy technology. Enjoy 59s.com.
You are listening to 1510 AM WRRD Waukesha, Milwaukee, and 1580 AM WTTN.
On second thought, chaotic hearing. I'm Mike Moss. The Justice Department now says it will appeal the federal judge's approval of the $85 billion acquisition of Time Warner by AT&T. Justice opted in June not to seek an immediate stay of the court's approval of the merger, allowing the merger to actually close on June 14th. An already blistering hearing exploded on Capitol Hill this afternoon. Texas Congressman Louis Gohmert was questioning FBI agent Peter Strzok, who wrote anti-Trump text messages with a fellow FBI employee with whom he was having an affair.
And I can't help but wonder, when I see you looking there with a little smirk, how many times did you look so innocent into your wife's eye and lie to her about Lisa?
Mr. Chairman, this is outrageous.
The credibility of a witness
Shame
is always
on you,
an issue.
Mr. Chairman, please.
Strzok said he regretted sending the messages, but said his investigation into Russian meddling was not biased by his personal feelings. Congressman Ted Poe was unmoved.
Your words are what we hear. Your protesting just seems to make those words more of a show of your bias.
Is your favorite TV show among this year's Emmy nominees?
The big nod for Thrones, outstanding drama series, up against last year's winner, The Handmaid's Tale. The Americans, The Crown, Stranger Things, This Is Us, and Westworld also competing for top drama. Elizabeth Moss was nominated for lead actress in a drama for The Handmaid's Tale, as were The Crown's Claire Foy, Kerry Russell in The Americans, and Sandra Oh for Killing Eve. Westwood's Evan Rachel Wood and Orphan Black's Tatiana Maslany also a nod. Ozark's Jason Bateman, Sterling K. Brown, and Milo Ventimiglia from This Is Us, Ed Harris, Jeffrey Wright in Westworld, and Matthew Reese in The Americans also vying for Best Actor in a Drama Series. At the Emmy nominations, Jim Roop, Los Angeles.
The Dow closed up today 224 points. I'm Mike Moss.
Hey folks, sexy liberal Stephanie Miller here. Most new Wisconsin jobs are in Dane County, it's true. Some of my listeners are relocating to Madison. Many already commute there. When asked where to turn for a trusted real estate team that understands Madison, I say the same thing. Solidarity Realty. They help you through the process and protect your consumer rights. They live their values, building community, promoting sustainability and diversity. Find them today at solidarityrealty.com and tell them Stephanie Miller sent you.
Here at Bounce Milwaukee, we not only want families and friends to build connections, we also want to grow those connections in our community. That's why every Wednesday night from 5 to 8 p.m., we host Refuel the Resistance. It's a great chance to have a drink in our arcade bar, try something from our fantastic restaurant, connect with progressive activists, and support local organizations. For more information about Bounce Milwaukee's Refuel the Resistance, visit us at bouncemilwaukee.com or call 414-312-4357.
Build-A-Bear Workshop's Pay Your Age promotion was supposed to be popular, but not this popular.
It was a struggling mall manager's dream. Lines make that crowds of kids and adults waiting to pay their age for a customizable teddy bear or other plush toy. People had in many places been in line for hours, but Build-A-Bear couldn't handle the crush and turned shoppers away. The company said in a Facebook post it had safety concerns. After livid customers complained on social media, the company said it knows people are disappointed and it will reach out soon. I'm Jan Johnson.
Stormy Daniels' lawyer says the porn actress is traumatized and rattled after she was arrested at an Ohio strip club last night. Michael Avenatti says his client is in the process of leaving Ohio after charges against her were dismissed earlier today by prosecutors. I'm Mike Moss.
Join the resistance against dirty carpets. Call Zero Res Madison today for our summer special. Clean and sanitize 3 rooms for only $139. Call 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
You're not wired to have a response to this sound. But when we introduce a new stimulus, save the food. We're helping to stop food waste. Save the food. For tips and recipes, visit savethefood.com. Brought to you by NRDC and the Ad Council.
The Resistance is live 7 days a week here on 1510 AM WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Tune in Sundays for Meet the Press with Chuck Todd from 11 a.m. to noon. Then it's the Jeff Santos Show, kicking ass for the middle class from 12 to 3 p.m. And Citizen Action's Battleground Wisconsin rages from 3 to 4 p.m. Get your groove on with Stu Man PM, politics and music, 4 to 6 p.m. with Stu Daniels. Always streaming at newstalk1510am.com, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. Firefighter Corey Barr, a Madison area realtor and owner of the business that exploded in Sun Prairie on Tuesday, died from the injuries he sustained in that blast. Barr was the owner of the Barr House in Sun Prairie. That building was leveled, and several others nearby were severely damaged. And the Democratic candidates for governor will meet for a debate this evening at UW Milwaukee. The debate starts at 6 p.m. and will be broadcast on Channel 4 in Milwaukee. You can submit a question for the candidates by texting DEBATE and your question to 414-269-6404. Outside this afternoon, partly sunny with temperatures in the mid-80s, and then partly cloudy tonight, lows around 70. You're listening to Resistance Radio.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves' corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening. Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show, Hour 2, Dom. Hour 2, not always the best hour, but often the best hour of all 3 hours.
Why?
Because you often close to the finish in Hour 3.
Come on.
And you started the show talking about Stormy instead of the headlines of the day.
That is the headline of the day.
Now we're just getting right into the meat of the politics.
The topic of the day is governmental abuse. And, there happens to be a few, sleeves we can go down.
Well, let's go left. Tammy Baldwin. I find this news encouraging. Senator Tammy Baldwin to oppose U.S. Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh. Fight like hell, Tammy. Bill Glauber at the Journal-Sentinel, Democratic U.S. Senator Tammy Baldwin said in a statement Thursday that she'll oppose the nomination of Brett Kavanaugh to the U.S. Supreme Court. This week, President Donald Trump nominated Kavanaugh for the seat to be vacated by retiring Justice Anthony Kennedy. Kavanaugh, whose nomination is strongly supported by conservative groups, is a judge for the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit. Here's what Senator Baldwin had to say. After reviewing this nominee's record, I know why a powerful special interest in Washington selected Judge Brett Kavanaugh to work on the Supreme Court for them, not the people of Wisconsin, Baldwin said in her statement. At a time when so many in Washington are working to overturn the law of the land that helps provide affordable health care for 133 million Americans with pre-existing conditions, including more than 2 million Wisconsinites, we cannot afford a nominee who could serve as the deciding vote to take us back to the days when powerful insurance companies wrote the rules, she said. Baldwin also praised the issue of abortion rights in detailing raised the issue of abortion rights in detailing her opposition to Kavanaugh. The president vowed to appoint judges to the Supreme Court who would overturn Roe v. Wade, and I cannot support a nominee for a lifelong appointment who would turn back the clock on women's constitutional right and freedom to make her own healthcare choices, including access to birth control, she said. The stakes are too high for the American people. We do not want the Supreme Court to advance a political agenda to overturn the law of the land on healthcare for people with pre-existing conditions, women's reproductive health, and the constitutional rights and freedoms of all Americans, Baldwin said. The people of Wisconsin need a fair, impartial, and independent Supreme Court justice who will stand up for them, not for powerful special interests. I don't have confidence that Judge Kavanaugh would be that justice.
Well, Crudy, after a statement like that, of course, Leah Vukmir's got to step up and have a comment as well.
What Nurse Ratched have to say?
Senator Baldwin's obstruction on Judge Kavanaugh's appointment is proof that she'd rather stand with her liberal activist San Francisco donors than uphold the Constitution. Doesn't she just have a vote? I mean, how is it obstruction? You get your
She's
vote
advising and consenting, and she's saying no.
Apparently,
That's her
advising
job.
and consenting is obstruction, and what? Not upholding the Constitution. Isn't advise and consent literally the words in the Constitution? I continue on Vukmir's random thoughts. When Wisconsin voters elected President Trump, they knew he'd choose judges who would uphold the Constitution. Senator Baldwin's no vote will directly contradict the will of the people. Kavanaugh is an extremely well-qualified nominee who deserves our support. Vukmir.
So saith Nurse Ratched. Dom, and I would point out, Tammy Baldwin also released some fundraising dollar numbers today. Big dollars. Tammy is sitting on some big dollars. Over $6 million cash in hand.
On hand, not raised. That's what she's got in the bank right now. That's after spending money.
Yeah, all year long. I believe she's raised something approaching $8 million this year. $4.4 million in the quarter. Those are big financial numbers. I mean, Tammy Baldwin, I know she's out there crying poverty all around the state of Wisconsin. Oh, the outside money, it's coming in against me. Well, let's not cry for Tammy. She seemingly will be sufficiently armed with her own stack of currency.
War chest.
And hopefully she'd be able to fight back. Well, Dom, I like this. She's shown me a little bit of encouragement by standing up to the nominee Kavanaugh.
You mean the obstruction?
Obstruction, as your girl Leah Buchner would call it. 844-967-2789. Got someone calling in from overseas. Mike from Germany. Welcome, sir.
Good evening, gentlemen. So much for your Tower of Power not reaching past Racine County.
Right.
It's always well, I'm telling you, you're worldwide reach, and I just have to weigh in tonight based on the sound bites you've been playing from that unholy interrogation going on in D.C. About 2.5, or I say about 3 weeks ago, you and Crudy and Dom were having a big vivacious discussion about whether or not fascism has already arrived or not. And if I recall correctly, Crudy was saying we're there, and Dom was
fascism now.
I'm sorry, say that again. Yes, Mike
yes,
was saying...
You're
yes.
accurate,
Well,
Mike, in your assessment.
Okay. Well, listening to the decline of opinion on the previous show, 414, as Brian and Daryl, as their moods continue to go downhill over the last 3 weeks, and I thought I was still on the upside of that. But tonight, I just got home to Nuremberg, Germany. I was in Regensburg all day, and I missed all the television stuff. So I'm hearing these sound bites coming out of D.C. Straight on, and I'm just disgusted because, say, if you don't know your history, you're damned to repeat it. And me, of course, being of the German heritage up in Sheboygan, but I do know what happened here. Those sound bites today from that interrogation, as well as those of the last 2 weeks from our justice officials and FBI officials, that tonality, that tenor, that degree of I don't know how to say it in the right way on the radio.
McCarthyism.
Well, yeah, I guess. But let's go beyond McCarthyism. This reminds me of the hearings and the trials, and going right up to the Supreme Court then, at that time the German Supreme Court, the way that the court or the way that the hearings or the authorities were almost taunting those freedom fighters of the Weimar Republic for standing up for their ideals as somehow being unpatriotic and not being part of the number. These questions today raise the question to me, it's like, what, if I hadn't voted for this individual, I'm now a traitor? And I'm talking to you as a former Army officer and someone who formerly voted for Ronald Reagan. I am insulted by the tonality of the sound bites you guys played tonight. I'm glad you played them. You had to. For me, I wouldn't have known it, but I'm just disgusted with the insinuation that just because you're critical of a certain individual, that does not make you a patriot or somehow you're against it. All I can say is, been there before, been there, done that. I've seen it, and if we're not careful, we'll be there again. And if you force me to tell you your date, right tonight, this is 1930.
Mike, it's not just that they're, and Strzok in this case was critical, and the Republicans think that he's not a patriot. I mean, Republicans are asserting that through his opinion that Trump should be impeached and that he, had some electronic pillow talk with his lover, who also happens to be an FBI agent, that is somehow...
Attorney.
An FBI attorney, that somehow this is an indication of the deep state and a conspiracy against the President of the United States. I mean, there is a huge leap going on here. It's far beyond just being whether or not he's a patriot. And, Mike, I got to tell you, I did hear much of that testimony today, and we only played a snippet. I mean, it is really an embarrassment what is going on in that committee room today.
Embarrassment to the host Republicans, because they, of course, control the flow of information.
Embarrassment to the country, man.
But mostly the Republicans, Mike.
Yeah, gentlemen, I mean, most of my friends back in Sheboygan today don't even know I'm on the radio in Milwaukee right now because they don't know this and they didn't hear it before on NPR. They didn't hear it on they're not hearing on WRRD. They might catch it on email on a forward from me if I send them a sound file. But most people don't even know this is going on at this moment.
Yeah.
And some of my friends, and they're very good people, they don't care.
Michael, how are you listening to us in Germany, if I may ask, sir?
I always stream you on TuneIn, and right now, because I'm on the phone, I'm streaming you on TuneIn. I also turn on your website on my laptop, and sometimes I do you double. So I'm running up your bills.
That's all right. Hey, you know what you should do, Mike? Share our Facebook page, share our website, the links, whatever you can, with all your friends in Sheboygan. They should be listening, and I would wager that people.
I do.
There's a lot going on in the world, right, Mike? We all have to pick and choose how we spend each minute and hour that we have.
As you noticed when you were out on your tour this past weekend, heading up to, I think you were up in Reedsville, and then on your way down south.
In Lake Geneva, yes, sir.
Sorry, that's right. And I have you on the AM in Sheboygan on 1510, as well as across Sheboygan County. But if the signal gets squeaky, then I switch to the stream. And on stream, you guys are fine.
Well, we better be, Mike.
It's like I'm right next door, and I have shared you. I have probably got a friend, Jurica Hrivicic, down in Zagreb, Croatia right now. Go Croatia.
Go Croatia.
And he's listening too right now, I know. There you go. But, in these days, the great thing is you can get way out past, and I do share it, but it does take a basic intelligence. I know our friend John Zindar from Sheboygan, former son of a police officer, a police captain in Sheboygan. He's in New York. I just sent him the link just right now. I don't know if he's listening right now, and he's also a former Army officer and shall we say, enlightened on our side of things. But these sound bites you played tonight, they stun me.
Mike, appreciate the call. Devil's advocates in Sheboygan and worldwide.
Yeah.
And it begs the question, of course, of Trey Gowdy and all the Republicans that put on the charade today. Have you no decency, sirs?
No, they don't. They're just trying to protect their own. They know the hammer's coming down, man. I mean, the death throes of a Republican Party, perhaps?
Or small d democracy here in the United States. One or the other.
One or the other.
Depends on which side of the aisle you sit on, apparently, and whether you believe the reality or whether you believe Republicans. Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates, more callers on the other side. 844-967-2789.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
Very powerful.
Brad Zog, owner of Zero Res Madison. Brad, why should people use Zero Res Madison?
Why wouldn't you clean your carpets like this? We've got a patented system. We also do another step that most people don't do. We have a double rotating brush machine that we use when we pre-treat the carpet. So this helps dig up any of that stuff that's deeper in your carpet that the vacuum doesn't get. We're going to provide that intermediary step before we clean with our empowered water.
Call Zero Res today, 608-848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it forward or backward. It's the right way to clean.
Only in the forest can you see this. And this. And this. But nothing beats the moment you see that.
Cool!
That's your child's eyes opening up to a world of possibilities.
I didn't know it could do that!
Because one trip to the forest can spark a world of difference.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go, like hiking, canoeing, fishing, or camping. Or create your own adventure with family and friends, and you might just see this. Your moment's out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org. That's discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
180 over 111, and I had a stroke. I couldn't speak or walk.
This is high blood pressure. Get back on your plan. Go to loweryourhbp.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
5 your local single-source IT solutions provider, specializing in cloud technology, consulting, servers, networks, and hosting. We manage your IT so you can focus on running your business. Enjoy technology. Enjoy 59s.com.
Have you outgrown your house? Are you sick of apartment living? Not ready to buy but know you need to move? Hi folks, this is Tom Hartman for CCL Management in Middleton. You should consider moving up to one of the finer rental homes CCL Management represents. Unique houses and condos, always clean, most are pet friendly. Visit cclmanagement.com today to find your new home. CCL Management, Dane County's premier leasing and property management company.
Call CCL Management at 833-0009. That's 833-0009 or visit cclmanagement.com today.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
You've messed up your daughter's haircut. Do you A, get spiritual?
Mom, where's the mirror?
Beauty is within. Oh.
B, find the positives?
Less time blow drying, more time texting?
Or C, show empathy?
Mom, you really don't have to.
Twinsies.
I kinda love it. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on adoption, visit adoptuskids.org. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Donna from Louisiana. The storm just hit, and we went from donating to the food bank to needing it.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Looking for a job worth talking about? Teaching is creative, collaborative, and intellectually challenging. See why teachers have better work stories at teachdfw.org and learn more about becoming a teacher. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
Hey, this is Stu Daniels, host of Stu Man PM, Politics and Music, heard every Sunday from 4 to 6 p.m. here on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. Stu Man PM is your Sunday afternoon update on two of my favorite topics, politics and music. Join me this Sunday, July 15th, when my guest will be candidate for Congress, Tom Pausewitz. We'll be talking politics, we'll be talking music, Stu Man PM, Sundays 4 to 6 p.m. here on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
The Devil's Advocates, because it's always 420 somewhere.
And we are back from the 420 break. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. Streaming on the Facebook and YouTube pages, on Twitter at Devil Radio, and on the phones, talk or text toll free, 844-967-2789.
Let's just get back to him. Let's get to Bill from Oconomowoc. Bill, you're next. Welcome, sir.
Hey, welcome. You guys do a wonderful job. By the way, I love your clips
you've got to play Mel Brooks in Blazing Saddles when he portrays the governor, and he says, "Gentlemen, we have to protect our phony baloney jobs." I'd love to have that clip inserted because it's just prime. It's just prime for what you guys do. But on a serious note, that call from Germany, I hope you have the ability or you legally can replay that for other people. They need to hear what that man said. He is spot on. Trey Gowdy needs to be charged with treason. I am sick and tired of that little banjo player from Deliverance challenging authority of this country. He's disgusting. He's sick. He's morbid. If I owned the red hen, whatever that building was where Sarah Sanders walked in, and he walked in, I would personally escort him out to the door myself. I don't believe in traitors and committing treason right in front of the whole country. And that's what he's doing. He's protecting a man whose strings are pulled by Putin, and he will deny it. He just doesn't get it. He needs to be taken and put in some other job, like something he can handle. I'm not so sure what that is, but maybe a tiddlywinks championship, but that'd be about it.
Vice cop in Columbus, Ohio, maybe?
Motorboating.
There you go, motorboating. You're right.
Hey, Bill, do you...
He could be in a... Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to ask, do you think that these Republicans are aware how history is going to judge them? How they will be...
I'll tell you why. Yes, they are. Let me hear it. You need to hear this. I called Ryan's office and Sensenbrenner's office, and I said, this needs to stop now. You've got to start defending our country. You can't stop. You've got to stop what you're doing because you are not defending America. And I talked to somebody from Ryan's office. Now, he's probably not going to call me back. I know that. I may get an email. Maybe that they indicated he said something in the mail. But what I want to say to him face to face is, remember, you own this. You better sign your name to this. Because when this all blows up in your face, you guys have to deal with the residue. And the residue is not going to be pleasant for you people. It will not be pleasant. It's specifically Trey Gowdy. He will either have to move to Canada or get a face makeup or something. Because that's a pretty easy face to spot in the crowd.
I hear he's waiting for the remake of Harry Potter. I think he's hoping for a career in acting, Malfoy.
Hey, on a better note, though, and I mean this, if you guys are in Oconomowoc ever, you call me up, dinner's on me, wherever you want to go in town here. I mean it.
I used to drive to town just for Schlotsky's Deli in Oconomowoc. I used to come down just for the lunch, man. Be careful what you wish for, Bill.
We can do better than that. We'll do better than that. But no, you guys need a pat on the back. And here's one other thing, that People for People group. What I'm wondering is, could they use that money to literally, as individuals, go after these people in the courts of law and charge them as individuals with one-on-one, how should I say it, the voting populace of America, taking them to court?
I'm not sure, Bill. That seems like a complicated plan. But I think if you're a donor to the People for People Corporation, I feel pretty good that the board members of the P4PPC, find them at p4ppc.org, would agree with me. I think let the people decide what the topics of the future messaging, education of Wisconsin voters should be. Give a few bucks, and maybe we'll let you create the next ad for the People for People Corporation. More Devil's Advocates. We'll be right back.
We've got to protect our phony baloney job, gentlemen. We must.
Join the resistance against dirty carpets. Call Zero Res Madison today for our summer special. Clean and sanitize 3 rooms for only $139. Call 608-848-9000 or schedule online at zeroresmadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
Dad, this is fun. I didn't think I liked kayaking.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, but I think it's time to head back in.
Okay. Can we come back?
Sure. Hey, be careful getting out of the boat.
It's a kayak, Dad.
I'm gonna return the kayak.
Can we walk home?
How about a taxi?
It's a short fare from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a neighborhood park or green space near you. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
I'm Jesse Pica-Holz with Solidarity Realty.
If you're looking for a home in Madison or Dane County, call me. I know Madison. I know homes. I'll protect your best interests. Call Solidarity Realty at 608-284-9311 or search solidarityrealty.com.
Ah, the bridge is out and there are scat holes everywhere. Come on. What's wrong with you? Listen to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
I'm Andy Buck, Field Representative with Painters and Allied Trades of Wisconsin. It's an issue that brings constant challenges for building contractors. How to find qualified painters, glazers, and drywall finishers. IUPAT knows what you want. A professional job performed by skilled workers who care about safety, training, and finishing strong. Workers who are reliable and ready on demand. Let IUPAT provide the people power that you need. You'll feel confident the job is finished right. Connect at IUPATDC7.com and finish strong.
I would like to thank you, President Trump. I also want to express my thanks to Governor Walker.
Foxconn CEO Terry Goh is thankful to the Republicans who delivered his $4.5 billion in corporate welfare.
Thank you to Foxconn.
Scott Walker thanks the foreign corporation who received the largest corporate welfare subsidy in history.
Thank you, Mr. President.
What about thanking the hardworking Wisconsin taxpayers you saddled with a generation of debt for a project that may never be paid back?
People should be rushing to me and patting my back and say, hey, thank you, Mr. Foxconn.
Call Governor Scott Walker at 608-266-1212 and tell him no thank you to corporate welfare, no thank you to environmental rollbacks, no thank you to a project that may never be paid back, no thank you to Foxconn. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Hey everybody, I'm Daryl Ingram of News Talk 1510 WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, and I am the Director of Advertising and Marketing. The pride of our independent stands runs deep in all that we do here at the station. The thing that I know for sure is that you can count on the quality and independent production of client advertising, mirroring the quality and independence of our fine programming here at News Talk 1510. To learn more, contact me at 414-335-0851 or via email at daryl@newstalk1510am.com.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. Brewers first baseman Jesus Aguilar made it to the All-Star team. Aguilar won the balloting for Major League Baseball's final vote position after not making it on the initial balloting. Aguilar will also take part in the Home Run Derby. In addition to Jesus Aguilar, Brewers players Lorenzo Cain, Christian Yelich, and Josh Hader were named to the All-Star team. And the Brewers lost to the Marlins last night 5-4 in 12 innings. They now go to Pittsburgh to play 5 games with the Pirates. Outside this afternoon, partly sunny with temperatures in the mid-80s, and then partly cloudy tonight, lows around 70. Tomorrow, mostly sunny in Milwaukee with highs in the upper 80s, partly sunny in Madison with highs in the low 90s. You're listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
The Devil's Advocates. Sausage making never looked so good.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. It's a Thursday, not quite a Friday, but still moving towards the later half of the week, Dom. I know you sort of pinnacle on Fridays.
Hell, man, you can always have a hangover and just get through a Friday. So it's almost like Friday today.
Sometimes you give us your best 3 minutes of the week on a Friday, Dom.
You and my wife.
844-967-2789. Let's get back to the phones. Eric from Tosa. Welcome to the show, Eric.
Well, thanks a lot. Yeah, what a hearing. That was pretty insane.
Mm-hmm.
You know, our taxpayer dollars managed to attempt to, table a conversation about getting Bannon to testify?
Yes.
And I believe, it sounds like he's going to be forced to testify under subpoena, it seemed like. And then Sensenbrenner, went on to waste taxpayer dollars for 5 minutes talking about Clinton emails, of course. But my question is this, is in this whole thing, they almost seem to get to it, but I always seem to wonder, what about the Republicans in the FBI that turned down the offer from Mueller to investigate Trump? Didn't they pick party over country? There's got to be Republicans
Well, Mueller's a Republican.
And decided not to investigate.
Mueller's a Republican. Christopher Wray is a Republican. Rod Rosenstein's a Republican.
There's so many, they identify these Democrats. Imagine the Mueller's a Republican. He'd want to have Republicans on his staff if he could. But the Republicans in the FBI apparently said no because it doesn't seem like they have any on his staff.
Or maybe, Eric, it just wasn't. It wasn't part of the litmus test for hiring his investigators. Maybe he didn't look at their political prisms because it's not important to how they do their jobs.
They politely declined to join his team. However you put it, where are the Republicans that went after that put aside their bias to investigate the president? Apparently, there weren't any on Mueller's team. Mueller seems to be apolitical. That's kudos to him. Strzok today, he did nothing but kudos for the FBI. It sounds like the Republicans embarrassed themselves. It was a good day for Strzok, it seems.
Well, Eric, on that point, I think
my only comment is just that it just seems as if they're always going after these quote unquote angry Democrats. But it's just that the Republican people in the FBI said no thanks, Mr. Mueller. And went back to hiding as Trump supporters.
Eric, you make good points. I'm not clear on how the investigatory team was selected or who may have declined, but I know the top honchos in charge, they're Republicans. During the elective cycle, they were calling the FBI Trump land. And if this text message is the only evidence, and as Strzok pointed out in his testimony today, I got bosses, I got subordinates, I got people on top of me, I got people below me.
Safeguards.
If I am out there biasing the investigation, if I'm taking it down a rabbit hole, isn't someone going to object? As Strzok said, just like I would object if someone else was doing that in the very same investigation.
Yeah, maybe some of those Republican-leaning FBI agents would object. Of course, that's why this is so ridiculous. Either the entirety of the FBI is some left-leaning progressive beehive of liberalism,
but only since Election Day.
Well, exactly. Are you kidding me? When you think of stiff upper lip and tight, you think FBI. These aren't the pot smoking hippies, tie-dye wearing. That's not my impression. That's not the stereotype.
No, that's you.
That's me, and I'm not the FBI. So all of a sudden, the Trumpers, and as you stated before, the FBI was what? Trump land? Trump land. Of course, there's lots of conservatives in the FBI. I would suggest probably that's why they're in the FBI. Law and order, serve and protect, all those kinds of things. And the FBI only takes certain types of people. They don't take people with drug convictions. You know what I'm saying? There is the thought that this entire organization has flipped to the deep state progressive liberals. It's a joke.
It is laughable. But of course, this is all the Republicans have in defense of their treasonous president.
It's all a ruse.
Because if you can't point towards the red herring that is the deep state secret society text message between the FBI agent and his FBI lawyer mistress, you got nothing. You've got a guilty president. If this witch hunt, if Jim Jordan and Trey Gowdy can't throw enough mud in the eye of the American people, well, they might become aware of the transparent truth that the president of the United States was in cahoots with a foreign power in a treasonous fashion. And every day we see more and more evidence that he has either compromised a Manchurian candidate or just plain Team Putin. Because look at his actions each and every day. The president seems full of guilt, yet Republicans seek the guilt behind every letter and word of a text message at 3 a.m. to my girlfriend. Really? That's the best you got?
As evidence of a grand conspiracy by the FBI to take down the executive branch?
That somehow is going on despite all the checks and balance of bosses and subordinates and all.
And despite the facts that I'm not clear what they would have done otherwise. I mean, Comey gave the election to Hillary coming out 11 days before election, and we're reopening the case.
Do you think if there was credibility to what it is that Strzok's text message said, no, we'll stop it? No, he didn't. Trump's the president. If he was so effective, really, Republicans, if you expect us to believe your backward-ass logic, then why aren't we talking about President Hillary?
Why didn't the FBI leak the fact that there was an investigation going on Donald Trump's campaign?
I think that's an excellent point Strzok makes. I've tried to make the very same point here in the state of Wisconsin.
Yes.
The John Doe 2, John Chisholm, we had him in studio about a month ago.
Milwaukee County DA.
Yes, and he did the investigation of the corrupted campaigning going on by Scott Walker, the coordination, which was illegal when he was doing it. And for everyone that says, oh, the John Doe 2 is just...
Political witch hunt.
It's a political witch hunt. And John Chisholm's wife's tears inspired the John Doe 2. I would point out, all Chisholm had to do to wreck Scott Walker's political career, not convict, simply charge.
Just drop a dime.
If he
before
was
the election.
truly a partisan, if this was a witch hunt, why didn't Chisholm drop a dime on Walker, and why didn't Strzok drop a dime during the elective cycle on Trump?
And why did Comey come out and throw Hillary under the bus again? Those are not the actions.
Also a Republican, Comey.
Those are not the actions of an FBI organization trying to undermine the Trump presidency. If anything, I would submit that
they undermined Hillary.
Yes! You're welcome, Donald.
Don't believe your lying eyes, Tom.
Come on, people.
Believe what Louis Gohmert says.
I can't believe you look in your eyes with that little smirk on your face. Do you look at your wife that way? This is congressional testimony. This is our tax dollars hard at work. This is democracy in action. It's an embarrassment. Putin's laughing his ass off because, of course, that's what the Russians wanted to do. That's the whole point, is to sow discord amongst the American people. And it's apparently pretty easy to do.
Do you think on Monday, when Putin meets with Donald Trump, no aides in the room, secret little clandestine meeting, secret in that no one will know the contents of the discussions had there, do you think he'll just say, here you go, Donald, here's the PP tape back. You've done good.
No, absolutely not, man. Once you got them under your thumb, you always put the screws. You never get out, man. You take all you can, and you take a little more, and when there's nothing left, you light a match. It's a long way from being done. And whatever tape, whatever digital is out there on this guy, there's more than one copy.
My understanding, Devin Nunes, your boy, Danny Noonan.
Danny Noonan? What
walked out of the investigation today, walked out of the hearing.
Very busy man.
Apparently, the Democrats were trying to bring evidence of Trump's collusion with Putin, trying to bring up the convictions of various Trump officials. You know, all this evidence of actual criminality, convictions, prosecutions, you know, or as they would call it, witch hunt. Let's talk about those text messages to your mistress.
And don't forget about,
you know, where the real scandal lies.
And don't forget about Hillary.
And Hillary's emails.
And Hillary's emails. And the fact that they changed from negligence, gross negligence to impropriety. I'm not clear on the exact term, but they changed
changed some of the vocabulary because one statement implied criminality.
Gross negligence implies criminality.
But when Comey decided, although there were no charges, that he's going to come out and do a public press conference, then, you know, despite the fact it seemed like he was laying out the case for indictments, you cannot use the vocabulary of criminality if there is no finding of prosecutable criminality, hence no charges.
The term literally has a legal meaning.
It does.
And if you say that term, you imply legal meaning, and therefore you imply criminality, and therefore if you're going to use that term, you must charge. Otherwise, you can't use the term.
And do you think if they could have locked her up, they would have locked her up, Tom, over at Trump land?
Absolutely.
Do you think if Trey Gowdy had found any evidence of actual criminality during the 4 years of Benghazi investigations, do you think he would have filed some sort of charges?
I truly believe that Gowdy would have filed charges if he could have.
So is he feckless? Or is there no freaking there? I'd say it's the latter. And probably the former.
844-967-2789 if you'd like to join our conversations today. That's a toll-free line. You can call, you can text, and it's all free. We want to hear what you have to say. 844-967-2789.
Dominic, you might want to hear what Scott Walker had to say about Kavanaugh.
Oh, yeah?
And Roe v. Wade. No worries.
No.
Just like the campaign ad he ran in 2014 when he said, these important decisions made between a woman and her doctor.
Yes.
Got to respect that. And Roe v. Wade, well, we'll hold that for the next segment, Dom, because Scott Walker, when he speaks, people should listen. It's like E.F. Hutton.
His mealy mouth speaking. This is the guy who
It's one of those where...
It's one of those where it's that time when, it's not that big of a deal. Of course he downplays everything. I look forward to it. We'll talk about, abortion, Roe v. Wade, and Walker's thoughts on it?
Walker made statements today. It's being reported, and we'll share it with you, our fair audience, right here on Resistance Radio, Devil's Advocates. Your calls, of course, always welcome. Toll free here at 844-967-2789.
We have to get much less politically correct.
He got a little pretty mouth, ain't he?
All workers benefit from unions, as unions create the highest standard in wages, health and welfare, retirement security, and workplace protections. Hello, this is Tom Bennett, President of Teamsters General Local 200. Your voice is your strength. The ability to build a stronger and better tomorrow begins today. Teamster Local 200 represents workers in numerous industries, and our team is ready to sit down with you and your co-workers to build your unified team. Call Teamsters Local 200 at 414-771-6363 or visit us on Facebook or www.teamsterslocal200.com.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order in classic corner tavern.
I'm jumping in with my clothes on.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable, but how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Join the resistance against dirty carpets. Call Zero Res Madison today for our summer special. Clean and sanitize 3 rooms for only $139. Call 608-848-9000 or schedule online at zeroresmadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
Bark and Scratch Outpost.
Free local same-day delivery. That's right, free local same-day delivery from Origin, Stella and Chewy's. Order all your favorite products online at MilwaukeePetFood.com. At Bark and Scratch Outpost, we think outside the bag.
Come on down, you will see. We do it naturally. MilwaukeePetFood.com. Bark and Scratch Outpost.
Hi, I'm Becky from Bounce Milwaukee, and I want to be the first to invite you to our newest attraction, axe throwing at Fling Milwaukee. Bring your friends, date, co-workers, or family to experience the rush of throwing axes at Milwaukee's first indoor throwing arena. Open 6 days a week for corporate team building, bachelor and bachelorette parties, date night, or just a fun night out. More information at flingmilwaukee.com or 414-312-4357.
Indoor baseball, anyone?
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You're not wired to have a response to this sound. But when we introduce a new stimulus, save the food,
we're helping to stop food waste. Save the food. For tips and recipes, visit savethefood.com. Brought to you by NRDC and the Ad Council.
Josh Call, the candidate for Wisconsin Attorney General.
Do you think voter ID had a suppressive effect, not on 100 voters, but on thousands of voters and perhaps tipped the election to Donald Trump?
This is an issue that came up at our trial. And first of all, I should thank you guys because we actually introduced into evidence the recording of you interviewing Dale Schultz, who was talking about the passage of the voter ID law. That was one of our pieces of evidence.
I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for those meddling devil's advocates.
You made a fool of me, but them broken dreams have got to end.
The Devil's Advocates, radio for nasty women everywhere.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, streaming on the YouTube and Facebook pages, Twitter at Devil Radio, and the party line. Talk or text 844-967-2789.
Dominic, we've always got friends looking to be a part of this fine program, including Jake from Milwaukee. Let's get to him now. Jake, welcome back. What's your thoughts today, sir?
Yeah, my biggest thought is Ron Johnson should keep his mouth shut because there's so much material here. People will not even want to be interested in anything stupid he says. So he's got a few weeks, so he better keep his mouth shut on the secret society and everything because he's in good shape with Louis and Gowdy and with Bob Golett or whatever his name is. So that's just for him a little bit of advice, Ron. Anyways,
you call them goobers. He calls them colleagues and crazy.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are asking themselves over these past 2 years, especially now that it's starting to heat up, is why aren't the Republicans doing their duty? And their duty as, the constitutional duty to protect the United States.
As a check and balance against the presidency.
Yeah. One could ask, they just don't believe it, right? And I'm sure a lot of them don't. But I'm sure there's enough that do believe it. But the reason why they don't do anything is because their policies and goals are the same as Putin's policies and goals, and that's to keep right-wingers and conservatives in power in America. And I think that's the reason why they don't do anything. There's only less than a handful, and those handful that do, they're leaving anyway for political power to do something. And they still vote for Trump.
Well, Jake, though, what about the fact that there's technically, although there's certainly been indictments and admissions, convictions on the Mueller case, it hasn't hit Trump yet. You know what I'm saying? So what are the Republicans supposed to do? Are they supposed to
throw lots of mud?
Get in front of the Mueller investigation? Certainly. Now, when Mueller drops whatever Mueller drops, and if it looks like it's going to be something that is dastardly, and then we see how the Republicans react, and I would imagine some will probably, I would certainly hope, Jake, most of them will realize, okay, if this is the case, then we got to get rid of this guy Trump, depending on what it is. But there will still be, no doubt about it, defenders to the end.
That's the optimistic view, and I'm not that optimistic because they are so far to the right, and by all their actions so far, they're putting their theocratic and I believe this too. I literally believe this. I believe they want to take over the United States and make it a totalitarianism with conservatives' control. They've done it in Wisconsin and like half the states here, and they want to do it in the entire United States. That's the horrible view, but I think it's true and it's coming if something doesn't happen. And call me realistic or call me whatever, but
pessimistic,
pragmatic. Jake, appreciate the call. 844-967-2789. Even during the Revolutionary War, there were quote unquote Americans,
Benedict Arnold,
that were loyal to the crown against the colonists, against their neighbors. I hold these Republicans in the very same light as your pal, Benedict Arnold.
The rebellion. Rebellions are built on hope, and I do hope when Mueller drops. And I don't know. I am pragmatic and I'm pessimistic, and I certainly.
What about the obstruction thing? That's supposed to be out in the month of July.
It's July 12th. I mean, hopefully that will come down soon. But I have to believe, Curdy, when faced with evidence of whatever wrongdoing Mueller rolls out against the Trump campaign, perhaps Trump himself, that they're going to have to say, you got to go. They're not going to be left with any choice. Nixon eventually went.
I'm not convinced these Republicans will hold their Nixon, although I think this is way worse than Watergate.
I absolutely do.
The difference between then and now is there was no Fox News. There was no Sean Hannity giving them props amongst their base. It would not matter if all evidence points towards complete and utter treason, Manchurian candidate, Sean Hannity will still be standing with Trump, and he'll be doing it in prime time on the highest rated cable news show in America on Fox News. And the Trumpsters, they'll believe him. They will say, oh, we were always allies with Russia, right?
Yeah.
They were the good guys. They will completely pretzel any
Mr.
prior
Gorbachev,
logic.
tear down this wall.
They would sell out the entire United States of America to the Russians as long as the Russians left the Republicans in charge. That is the equation that they have done. That is the math that is playing out before our eyes. We have a president selling our country out, literally, because I think it's about a lot of laundered money, Russian oligarch money. But this president is literally selling the soul, the democracy of America to the Russians.
I get it, but what
and the Republicans are satisfied.
Republicans getting out of it? I mean,
they get to stay in charge. They get a Supreme Court justice.
The ends justifies the means, Curdy?
Absolutely. In all ways, shapes, and forms. Republicans have always demonstrated that. In fact, I was listening to right-wing talk radio the other day in regards to Kavanaugh's pick. Rush Limbaugh said, you stupid Democrats. You had the chance to replace our GB, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, RBG. And you should have done so. You should have encouraged her to retire, and Obama could have replaced her. And now you got to worry. You got to...
What, 2 years before the election? What makes you think that McConnell would have allowed that to happen? Don't listen to Rush Limbaugh, man. That guy's as twisted as the rest of them. He's their twisted
I don't disagree with him. The Democrats, if they had any forethought...
McConnell's going to allow it. He didn't allow it for a year. You think he'd allow it for 2? They don't give a damn. The ends justifies the means.
Obama,
they would block no matter what.
Elena Kagan and Sonia Sotomayor, they would not have had the ability to block an appointment for RBG.
Why
Come
did
back.
What are you
We're out of
talking
time.
about?
We're out of time.
Come on.
It's commercial time. We'll be back.
On.
The happy hour. It starts now.
Even their new motto, resist. And I guess it's a pretty accurate motto. Every time I see it, I say, that's right.
Rebellions are built on hope.
Jeff's Guitar Clinic is a multifaceted shop offering guitars, amplifiers, and all accessories, guitar lessons for all ages, and instrument repair of the highest quality. Jeff'sGuitar.com.
Wisconsin's doing terribly. The roads are a disaster because they don't have any money to rebuild them. They're borrowing money like crazy. They projected a $1 billion surplus, and it turns out to be a deficit of $2.2 billion. The schools are a disaster. The hospitals and education is a disaster.
And when I see Scott Walker with his little motorcycle and he puts his helmet on and he gets off and he makes a speech, but he's always riding like, he gets off a bike like he's a big tough guy. Okay, or a little tough guy. Their lobbyists, their special interests, and their donors will start calling. They gave you $1 million to your campaign, and this one gave you $5 million, and this one, you have to do it. You know what he's going to say? Okay, I'll do it.
Mr. Trump, you're using the talking points of the Democrats, and as we all know, that
I'm using facts.
This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
180 over 111, and I had a stroke. I couldn't speak or walk.
This is high blood pressure. Get back on your plan. Go to loweryourhbp.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
Live via phone, he is former U.S. Attorney Jim Santel.
Firing Bob Mueller doesn't mean that the prosecution, the investigation goes away. Pardoning one individual does not mean that you undo everything that has been done before. So this notion that somehow by shutting down and by pardoning and by sort of stopping the process, you're also stopping the wheels of justice is simply, again, it's simply wrong.
The Devil's Advocates, weekday afternoons on 1510 AM, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
You are listening to 1510 AM WRRD Waukesha, Milwaukee, and 1580 AM WTTN Columbus, Wisconsin's.
Acquisition in question, raucous hearing. I'm Barbara Cusack. The Justice Department has decided to appeal a ruling last month that allowed AT&T to acquire Time Warner. The companies have already moved forward with the agreement, but should the Justice Department prevail, AT&T would have to detach the Time Warner business. An FBI agent insisted during a congressional hearing today that the personal views reflected in his texts did not affect the Russia investigation.
During a sometimes heated hearing, FBI agent Peter Strzok vigorously defended himself against charges of bias. He insisted his anti-Trump texts and other personal views never colored the Russia investigation or others he conducted. Strzok said the GOP focus on his texts is a mistake.
I strongly believe today's hearing is just another victory notch in Putin's belt and another milestone in our enemy's campaign to tear America apart.
Jerry Bodlander, Washington.
For the first time in his official capacity, President Trump is visiting England.
The official welcome for the Trumps, featuring the Prime Minister, was at Blenheim Palace, where Winston Churchill was born. The unofficial unwelcome came a bit impromptu at a park not far from where Mr. Trump is spending the night. A couple hundred people made a lot of noise even as he was far away. Among the signs here, one says Trump for president. It's in the same colors as the Make America Great Again signs the president used during his campaign in 2016.
Correspondent Bob Costantini reports tens of thousands of people are expected to fill London streets tomorrow in protest. U.S. stocks climbed today as top technology names hit record highs and industrials rebounded, offsetting worries about a U.S.-China trade war. The Dow rose 224 points, the S&P 500 was up by 24, and the Nasdaq added 107 points. I'm Barbara Cusack.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
J.D. Davis Funeral Home, located at 4803 West Burlott Street, is dedicated, dignified, and distinguished in serving you in your time of need. Direct cremation specials starting at a very low cost of $595. That does not include cremation permit or crematory fee. Traditional funeral packages starting at $1,995 with a 20-gauge metal casket included. Title 19, Milwaukee County General Assistance accepted. Call today, 414-444-8300.
The adult film actress who claims she had an affair with Donald Trump was arrested in Ohio last night and charged with illegal touching while performing at a strip club.
Stormy Daniels was charged with 3 counts of illegally touching a patron at the strip club Sirens in Columbus. Her attorney, Michael Avenatti, told MSNBC that female undercover police officers were in the audience during her performance.
They asked her if they could place their face in between her breasts.
Columbus police officials said they've had an ongoing vice operation targeting illegal activity at strip clubs for a while now.
I think this is ridiculous. I think it's an absurd use of law enforcement resources.
A judge in Ohio sided with Avenatti. He dismissed the charges. I'm Steve Kastenbaum.
Serena Williams advanced to her 10th Wimbledon final, defeating Julia Gerges. She'll face Angelique Kerber in the final as Williams bids for an 8th Wimbledon title. I'm Barbara Cusack.
5 your local single-source IT solutions provider. Specializing in cloud technology, consulting, servers, networks, and hosting. We manage your IT so you can focus on running your business. Enjoy technology. Enjoy 59s.com.
Donna from Louisiana.
The storm just hit, and we went from donating to the food bank to needing it.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
The Resistance is live 7 days a week here on 1510 AM WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Tune in Saturdays for Busted Pencils, fully leaded education talk with Dr. Tim Slecker, 11 a.m. to noon. Then it's the voice of the voiceless, champion of the working class. Earl Ingram's Saturday show is live from 12 to 3 p.m. Then Right Meets Left with the Joel and Joe Costa Show, Republican State Rep Joel Clayfish, and Democratic State Rep Joe Costa Zamarupa go toe-to-toe from 3 to 4. Always streaming at newstalk1510am.com, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. The Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel is reporting that Dillard's department stores could be moving into 3 of the former Boston store locations. Senator Bernie Sanders will be joining Senator Tammy Baldwin for a rally this Saturday in Eau Claire. The rally will be held at the Lismore Hotel, and the doors open at 8 a.m. And Bastille Days is underway in downtown Milwaukee. The Free Street Festival, celebrating Milwaukee's French heritage, takes place in and around Cathedral Square Park and goes through Sunday. Outside this afternoon, partly sunny with temperatures in the mid-80s, and then partly cloudy tonight, lows around 70. Tomorrow, mostly sunny in Milwaukee with highs in the upper 80s, partly sunny in Madison with highs in the low 90s. You're listening to Resistance Radio.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves' corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Dominic, we are sliding into the 5 o'clock happy hour here on Brady Street, Milwaukee. But some sad news to report. We've got some friends right now in Columbus, Ohio. A union rally there today. About 15,000 is what I saw in the social mediums. Our friends from the Teamsters 200, Tom Bennett, Tom Alonzi, they're in Columbus. Bob Amsden, part of the retiree pension plan people. He's down there.
Issue, yeah.
I think they got a little send-off yesterday, left from Wisconsin. But outside of this rally, which apparently a big one, even Jimmy Hoffa Jr. at the big rally today for the Teamsters, the site of this rally, conspicuous in that Columbus, Ohio, the very same place where Stormy Daniels was thrown in the clink last night.
Arrested for motorboating 3 police officers.
You motorboating son of a bitch.
And Dom, you put some erroneous information out there, and it's time to correct the record.
It wasn't erroneous, but it has been updated. Breaking news, Stormy Daniels' attorney initially, after her release from the police station, said that his client refuses to be intimidated. This is in his Twitter feed. She will return to the scene of the no crime tonight in Columbus, Ohio, as scheduled. She never ceases to impress. That was followed up by this tweet: change of plans. Stormy Daniels will not be performing at the Siren tonight, but is looking for another club in the area. Keep your fingers crossed.
I hope our Teamsters buddies are looking for a strip club right now, a proper venue for Stormy, and perhaps a little motorboating. So, an update to that story. We thought it important to correct the record.
Well, we did start the show on it. I mean,
we do like to get it right as well.
Absolutely. Accurate information is imperative to the longevity of this show.
I suspect some disappointed Teamsters down in Columbus, Ohio tonight.
And probably some disappointed police officers, since 3 of them were motorboated.
844. At some point, I just got to move on from motorboating.
Is that but if you're the motorboatee versus the motorboat tour, I mean, if you are the one receiving the breast slaps as the police officers.
I heard over the course of the news, I think you stepped out of the studio, as you often do. I don't know where you go. But anyways, news played out. CNN, our news component through Westwood One, seemingly was implying that these vice cops asked to be motorboated. This is motorboating entrapment, Tom.
Oh, come on!
That's the way I heard it reported on the very fine news on Resistance Radio.
Columbus, Ohio, huh? Way to go, Columbus.
I hate everything about Columbus, Ohio.
Really?
It's the home of the Ohio State Buckeyes. I hate the Buckeyes.
Oh, that's right.
My son accuses me of having football Tourette's, meaning I swear quite a bit watching the football games. I say it's not Tourette's. It's just my reaction to
the Buckeyes?
Ohio State Buckeyes. I hate the Buckeyes nearly as much as I hate Republicans.
Come on.
That's not true. I like a few Republicans. I've never found a Buckeye I like.
844-967-2789, 844-96-PARTY.
I take that back. Martha Choo Choo Kolaski.
Choo Choo?
She married Martha Kolaski, the very pretty anchor at the ABC I used to work at.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
She's still the anchor in lacrosse at CBS.
LAX, baby.
I liked Martha Kolaski. The only thing from Ohio State that was ever worth mentioning.
So, Stormy not performing. Sorry, folks, but she might find another club. Again, 844-967-2789. Betsy.
I would go TP OSU tonight, Teamsters.
Betsy, welcome to the show. What do you got today?
Oh, my goodness. I was calling when Jake was talking, you guys. He got me all riled up because he's so spot on, And I had an epiphany. When they say drain the swamp, I think they're talking about we, the people. I mean, I think really, I mean it. Everything that's happening. I mean, this debacle today. It's just to make us look here while they're totally dismantling our Social Security, our Medicare, our Medicaid. Do you know the new cards for is it Medicare for the elderly when you retire, or the Medicaid?
Medicare for
the elderly, yes.
Yeah, well, they no longer have their Social Security number on that, and I'm a caregiver, and the guy I take care of, he's all upset about that. I mean, because he doesn't know what that means. And, so, I mean, there's just all sorts of, also one of our lady friends didn't get her homestead credit. I mean, the little people, the little guy, I mean, we're struggling here. And, we have these entitlements, so they say to speak, that we've worked for. And then all of a sudden, I mean, they just pull the rug up from under you, just like those pensions.
You're not entitled, Betsy. The only ones entitled to the taxpayers' money are foreign corporations like Foxconn and Republican campaign donors.
Indeed. Well, I just hope people wake up. I really do. And yeah, Ron Johnson, oh God, help us, Lord.
Kiss your assets, Betsy?
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. You guys are the best. God bless you. Love you.
Oh, thank you, Betsy.
God bless us all, Betsy.
Gotta help us all, Betsy.
Be Betsy.
844-967-2789. You want to get to this Walker thing, or we're going to keep pounding on Trey Gowdy?
I would like to make a little time now for my favorite pastime, I'd like to think of it. Little hashtag Walker bashing.
Yes, excellent.
Let's bring Walker down a peg, because, of course, he's out there lying again, and when he lies, he does so in a very word salad-y sort of way.
It's one of those where every time we talk about it, I'm not a lawyer.
Okay, the article, Rich Kramer, Wisconsin Public Radio, I found it at Urban Milwaukee Online Daily. Walker doubts Roe v. Wade at risk.
Yeah.
Oh, don't get fired up. There's nothing to see here. I read from the piece. Despite concerns from Democratic lawmakers, Governor Scott Walker says he isn't convinced that President Donald Trump's second U.S. Supreme Court pick will open the door to overturning the landmark Roe v. Wade abortion rights decision. Now, I would point out our friend Ed Falone, Marquette University Law School professor, said probably no overturning of Roe v. Wade, just a death of 1,000 cuts. But I read on. Speaking to reporters after an Eau Claire Chamber of Commerce luncheon, open for business, Dom. Walker said Trump's nominee, U.S. Circuit Court Judge Brett Kavanaugh, is a principled jurist committed to upholding the Constitution. But critics worry the pick could tip the nation's high court in a way that leads to the overturning of the decision that blocks states from banning abortions. I think it's one of those where, I think there's a lot of speculation, and this is a guy who part of his experience is he clerked for Justice Kennedy, said Walker. So for those who suggest he's going to be a stark contrast, most clerks are pretty well aligned with the person they clerk for. His track record suggests he's going to uphold the Constitution, and if he does that, I don't expect there will be major changes. Wisconsin has a number of statutes on the books limiting abortion that were voided by Roe v. Wade, but Walker said it would take years for the U.S. Supreme Court to overturn the precedent-setting decision, even with a solidly conservative majority. So you got that. You got a couple years.
Don't worry about it. Stay home. You don't need to vote.
My guess is one thing that seems pretty clear is that anything like that wouldn't happen immediately. No, there'd be no magic wand, you mulyak, said Walker. You're talking years, so probably any sort of change wouldn't have any impact for me and other state officials until long after the term I'm running for is over. So screw you women. I'm just worried about my reelective campaign, and if it's not going to affect Roe v. Wade between now and November, don't worry about it. That'll probably happen after I've moved on to run for president again.
Oh, Crudy, it's not just him he's worried about. It's the other state officials as well. Because, of course, this is all about elections. This is all about running for office. I'll continue, Crudy. Democrats and abortion rights supporters in Wisconsin are condemning Kavanaugh's nomination to the Supreme Court. Quote, if he is not blocked, Brett Kavanaugh will be the deciding vote to overturn Roe v. Wade and do what Scott Walker has been trying to do for 25 years, criminalize women having abortions, said Annalise Eicher, the liberal of the liberal advocacy group, One Wisconsin Now, recent guest on this fine program. Democratic gubernatorial candidate Kelda Roys, who is a past head of NARAL pro-choice, said Kavanaugh will be a rubber stamp for Trump. The Supreme Court vacancy and Trump's pledge to appoint anti-choice justices poses the clearest threat to reproductive rights in decades. This appointment underscores the importance of electing a governor with a strong track record of championing women's health. I have that record, and I have pledged to pardon anyone charged under Wisconsin's current abortion ban, which will go into effect immediately if Roe is overturned.
Rich Kramer, Wisconsin Public Radio. Again, we found it at the Urban Milwaukee Online Daily.
So, you know what? This is Walker's thing, though, right? Right to work's not really a big priority for me.
It's on the back burner. It's not on my desk. It's on the credenza.
It'll take years. I mean, I'll be long gone. So what is he saying? 5 years it would take?
Well, let's not forget, right after he won re-election most recently, he not only signed right to work into law, despite saying it wasn't a priority, he also signed a 20-week abortion ban after running out a campaign ad that made it seem like he was very sympathetic and appreciated that women and their doctors make tough choices, sometimes about reproductive health. Scott Walker, he's not a good man, but he's a prestigious fundraiser. Dom, he's crested $100 million. Scott Walker, campaign dollars, just since he's been governor. $100 million. Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates. We're going to do some real good with $100 mil. 844-967-2789. We'll be right back.
Frankly, I am sick of coming down to the Senate floor to explain to Republicans what Planned Parenthood does.
I have no idea.
Having a great time.
Hey, folks. Sexy liberal Stephanie Miller here.
Most new Wisconsin jobs are in Dane County, it's true. Some of my listeners are relocating to Madison. Many already commute there. When asked where to turn for a trusted real estate team that understands Madison, I say the same thing. Solidarity Realty. They help you through the process and protect your consumer rights. They live their values, building community, promoting sustainability and diversity. Find them today at solidarityrealty.com and tell them Stephanie Miller sent you.
I'm afraid right now for the future of my children's generation and those to come.
In this age of mass school shootings, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker offers the same bold agenda of the National Rifle Association.
Make sure you remember in your thoughts and more importantly in your prayers.
While Walker offers platitudes, he blocks meaningful gun safety legislation.
It's really an honor to work with the NRA, not only in my state, but across the country. And I'm proud of my A+ ranking as a governor.
Walker weakened the gun laws in Wisconsin, and then he got $3.5 million worth of NRA support.
There have been men and women of courage who've been willing to stand up and think more about the future of their children and their grandchildren than they thought about their own futures.
Scott Walker, you are not one of them. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Looking for a job worth talking about? Teaching is creative, collaborative, and intellectually challenging. See why teachers have better work stories at teachdfw.org and learn more about becoming a teacher. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
5 your local single-source IT solutions provider. Specializing in cloud technology, consulting, servers, networks, and hosting. We manage your IT so you can focus on running your business. Enjoy technology. Enjoy 59s.com.
Brad Zog, owner of Zero Res Madison, resisting dirty carpets and harsh chemicals. Brad, why should people use Zero Res Madison?
Why wouldn't you clean your carpets like this? We're not using any soaps. We're not using any chemicals. We cost about the same as the other guys. You look at it and you go, where's the downside? You got a completely green clean. It's awesome. We guarantee it. There's no downside.
There's no downside. Use Zero Res. Call Zero Res today. 608-848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it forward or backward. It's the right way to clean.
Jeff's Guitar Clinic is a multifaceted shop offering guitars, amplifiers, and all accessories, guitar lessons for all ages, and instrument repair of the highest quality. Jeff'sGuitar.com.
We are live outside the home of Joe and Rosie Goddard, where a pretty big tickle fight broke out just minutes ago. Sources say their father instigated the laughter. Let's go inside for a comment. Apparently, they have no comment. Dads, let this be a reminder that it only takes a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
I'm jumping in with my clothes on.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hey, this is Stu Daniels, host of Stu Man PM, Politics and Music, heard every Sunday from 4 to 6 p.m. here on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. Stu Man PM is your Sunday afternoon update on two of my favorite topics, politics and music. Join me this Sunday, July 15th, when my guest will be candidate for Congress, Tom Pausewitz. We'll be talking politics, we'll be talking music, Stu Man PM. Sundays, 4 to 6 p.m. here on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
The Devil's Advocates, where there's always time for Scott Walker bashing. Hashtag Walker bashing.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Party lines are open. Toll-free, talk or text at 844-967-2789.
It's official, Dominic. Scott Walker, $100 million man. He has raised $100 million in campaign cash. Not in this
$100 million.
Not in this selected cycle, but cumulatively since he's been the governor of the state of Wisconsin, according to our friends at that liberal advocacy group, One Wisconsin Now. Scott Walker, $100 million. It takes a lot of money to make someone that boring and unpalatable and corrupt into a 2-term and pray to God not a 3-term governor here in the state of Wisconsin. I'm going to read from the press release. Mike Brown, Deputy Director. No other Wisconsin politician has crossed the threshold Scott Walker is expected to when he discloses his most recent round of campaign fundraising, shaking down donors for over $100 million for his campaigns for governor in advance of a Walker media availability today to try and distract from the Democratic gubernatorial debate. One Wisconsin Now executive director, Scott Ross, denounced Walker for incessantly whining about campaign spending while he has amassed $100 million since 2009. Here's a quote from Scott Ross. Scott Walker has shaken down campaign donors and schemed to sell out Wisconsin to the highest bidders to the tune of $100 million over his 25 years in office. Instead of crying about voters being out to get him, Wisconsin's $100 million man should be apologizing for what he's done to our state to fund his insatiable quest for political power. The legions of donors underwriting Walker's insatiable political ambitions include some of the wealthiest individuals in Wisconsin and across the nation, writing 6-figure checks, primarily, as they write in the memo, Don, because Scott Walker asked. Ross also noted that the $100 million figure is for Walker's own gubernatorial campaigns.
Big distinction here.
And does not include his fundraising for his run for president or other organizations spending on his behalf. For example, according to news reporting on the criminal investigation into Walker's campaigns, a donor reported writing a large check to an outside group supporting the governor because Scott Walker asked. In addition, Walker's longtime campaign chair, Michael Grebe, for years ran the Bradley Foundation, the nearly $1 billion Milwaukee-based mega funder of the right-wing noise machine, has larded organizations supporting Walker and his political agenda with massive sums over the years. One last quote. No Wisconsin politician has raised more campaign cash for himself or been more willing to sell us out for a campaign contribution than Scott Walker. Scott Walker is the literal poster child for obscene campaign spending, concluded Ross.
Walker will do anything for money. He literally...
Anything?
Motorboat, whatever. He will do it for $1.
Do you think he's literally motorboated Sheldon Adelson?
Oh, it's terrible.
Get up in there,
fun.
Scott.
Oh, no, you want that check?
It's between the folds.
Oh, no, never put money in your mouth. But that's the point. Walker will sell it out. He'll do anything. He'll take every check. He'll cut every corner.
Climb every mountain.
He gets caught, he, along with his cadre of Republicans here in the state of Wisconsin, will change the laws. They'll cry foul. They'll cry wolf. They'll cry conspiracy. They'll cry First Amendment rights. You know, pre-dawn military raids, Crudy. That's how they do it. And all the time, he's raking it in, says one thing, does another, acts like, you know, a woman's got a right to choose, and then pushes through the 20-week abortion ban. Just like now, Kavanaugh, Republican, no big deal. Nothing's going to happen for a long time. And you know, behind the scenes, he is cheerleading as best he can to get whatever he can done in order to take away a woman's right to choose here in the state of Wisconsin.
Well, he doesn't look at it that way, Dom. He just looks at it as a new and better way to gin up campaign contributions. Nothing like a social wedge issue for our prestigious fundraising. The $100 million man, Scotty Wanker. And I bet if we included outside spending, Dom,
Wisconsin Club for Growth and Manufacturers and Commerce,
I would not be shocked to find out that this man has had about $200 million at his disposal, because no one that unpalatable, that unelectable has ever been elected without the benefit of just gobs of money. Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates.
$1 million.
Just because he says it doesn't make it true.
$100 billion.
Join the resistance against dirty carpets. Call Zero Res Madison today for our summer special. Clean and sanitize 3 rooms for only $139. Call 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
Whoa, long time no see. It's me, the Rock t-shirt in the back of your closet. Dude, remember? You crowd surfed in me, man. But you haven't worn me in like forever. I get it, you're retired, but I still got some rock left in me. So take me to Goodwill, where I can really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff, create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
I'm Jesse Pikeholz with Solidarity Realty. If you're looking for a home in Madison or Dane County, call me. I know Madison. I know homes. I'll protect your best interests. Call Solidarity Realty at 608-284-9311 or search solidarityrealty.com.
Here's how you get them. If someone invites you for a cocktail, you bring them beer. If someone invites you to dinner, you bring a casserole. That's how you make friends. That's the Wisconsin way.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
Music is a bridge between the material and the spiritual. My name is Harvey Lauer, and I'm 82. As a blind person, you have to be aware that nobody can tell you what you can or can't do. You really have to try things. My folks got me a little radio in 1940, and that was the best Christmas present I ever got. When I was 11 years old is when I started to play music, play the piano, and then the accordion, and then the cello. My wife, who was also blind, was a good cook. When she died, that's when I started Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Person who's against these regulations to keep poop out of your water and poison out of your food. If, one of their offspring had a third arm coming out of their forehead.
I would just think that would be awkward. You'd be very top heavy.
But you would be one heck of a football player.
How would they make a helmet?
All you gotta do is cut a hole in the helmet for the hand to come through, and you could catch
but then
passes
you're
all over
elbowing
the place.
everybody in the face every time you walk around.
Wear an elbow pad. You'd be fine.
How would you see?
You would be a heck of a football player.
Would you be an arm unicorn?
414 Wisconsin, weekdays, 2 to 3 p.m. For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. Firefighter Corey Barr, a Madison area realtor and owner of the business that exploded in Sun Prairie on Tuesday, died from the injuries he sustained in that blast. Barr was the owner of the Barr House in Sun Prairie. That building was leveled and several others nearby were severely damaged. And tomorrow evening is the first River West food truck rally in Milwaukee's River West neighborhood. The rally will take place at the Goat Palace, located at 3740 North Fratney Street. In addition to 8 food trucks, the rally will also feature beers from 4 of River West's craft breweries. The first River West food truck rally will take place from 5:30 to 9 tomorrow evening. Outside this afternoon, partly sunny with temperatures in the mid-80s, and then partly cloudy tonight, lows around 70. You're listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
The Devil's Advocates. We drink when we toast when we drink.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show in the midst of the happy hour here on Brady Street. It's always happier when the cold ones are flowing, Dom, as they might be now. 844-967-2789. You'd have to watch us on the Facebook or YouTube live streams to know for sure. But, Dom, more troubling news. More Wisconsin Republicans seeking to take reproductive rights away from women. This time we reference the hack Attorney General Brad Schimmel.
Also from our friends over at One Wisconsin Now. You can find them at onewisconsinnow.org. Donald Trump's nomination of a right-wing Supreme Court justice puts a high court decision that currently prohibits the enforcement of the Wisconsin law criminalizing abortion in danger of being overturned. Attorney General Brad Schimmel signed on to a 2012 strategy document from a Wisconsin anti-abortion group endorsing enforcement of the law, threatening medical professionals and others with felonies. Brad Schimmel publicly supports jailing doctors and threatening felonies for people who help women get abortion in cases where the mother's health is at risk or victims of rape or incest, said One Wisconsin Now program director Annalise Eicher, a guest on this fine show earlier this week. She continues, he is a politician and a lawyer, not a doctor. While Waukesha County District Attorney Schimmel signed onto a 2012 white paper from the anti-abortion activist group Wisconsin Right to Life, endorsing a strategy of preserving a 1955, the good old days, Crudy, a 1955 Wisconsin state statute that would ban abortions even in case of rape or incest and impose felony charges against doctors who perform abortions in almost every circumstance. Since the 1973 United States Supreme Court decision in Roe v. Wade, Wisconsin's criminal abortion statute has been prohibited from being enforced. In his 2014 campaign for Attorney General, Schimmel endorsed other extreme legal positions, including saying he would defend other laws severely restricting a woman's right to make her own decisions about her health care, like mandating she undergo an ultrasound before having an abortion. Schimmel even said he would have defended a state law outlawing interracial marriage if it were on the books. I have to. Eicher concludes Brad Schimmel's radical legal activism would turn back the clock on Wisconsin's health in women's health in Wisconsin. It is outrageous. He would use heavy-handed tactics like threatening doctors and nurses with prison time to make medical decisions for women and their families. One Wisconsin Now, shining the light on the hackery that is Wisconsin's Attorney General, Brad Schimmel.
I don't have a lot of expertise.
He does not.
Nope.
Dom found this little piece. I'm not sure. Where's it from? This one. The one that's titled in the headline, Donald Trump once told a 17-year-old model, "Great, so you're not too old and not too young." Barbara Piling met a middle-aged Donald Trump at a party in New York during the late 1980s. When he learned that she was only 17, she says that he responded with, "Oh, great. So you're not too old and not too young. That's just great."
I'm going to be dating her in 10 years.
Party guests included girls as young as 14, Dominic. Piling's encounter with the president was one of several that the BBC shared in a new program titled, "Trump, Is the President a Sex Pest?" Let's not forget Trump visiting the UK currently, Dom. My understanding, thousands will take to the streets in protest tomorrow. But back to this piece. The investigative series aired on Monday, just days before President Trump was scheduled to make a diplomatic visit to the UK after this week's annual NATO summit. The BBC said that the inspiration behind the series was the fact that Trump has been accused of inappropriate sexual behavior by more than 20 women, but has dismissed all of them by calling them liars. And I would say in some cases, ugly. Look at her. She wouldn't be my first choice. I read on. Now one of these women, Summer Zervos, is suing him for defamation, and his many attempts to stall the lawsuit have failed. Zervos was a former contestant on the Trump-hosted reality show The Apprentice, and she claims the president once groped her. Trump fired back against Zervos and his fellow accusers, prompting her lawsuit. Another woman named Rachel Crooks accused the president of forcibly kissing her when she worked in Trump Tower in 2006. Trump aggressively defended himself in a Twitter post, saying that the incident never happened and mocked the alleged kiss for being 2 minutes. I've never lasted 2 minutes in my life. Donald Trump via Twitter. A woman I don't know and to the best of my knowledge never met is on the all caps front page of the fake news Washington Post, saying I kissed her for 2 minutes yet in the lobby of Trump Tower 12 years ago. Never happened. who would do this in a public space with live security? I save all that crazy stuff for Russian hotel rooms when there's like 4 hookers and we can really be ourselves. Let our hair down.
If you're out of the zip code, it ain't cheating, right?
He groped me.
Another woman named Heather Braden told the BBC that she saw Trump in Miami at a party that included over 50 female models and only 4 men. I felt like a piece of meat in the market, Braden said. She added that she felt like she could have been auctioned off in some sort of sex slave ring. It was like a predator in action, or as we call him, that's our president.
Crudy, the entire BBC report is not available online outside of the UK, but it has been widely reported on. I found that out. I tried to watch this documentary and was unable to do so. This reporting was from Newsweek.com.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. This show is from Brady Street. It's the happy hour. You can always join us here, live via phone or text at 844-967-2789. Dom.
Let's get to it. Wisco Paul, you are up. Thanks for calling, my friend. What do you got for us today?
Thanks for taking my call as always. Scott should put some of that campaign money in the road. That'd help.
Right. Well, see, that's not a problem for him because he'll just take the state plane and fly around.
Well, I did become a Democrat. I think it was in the spring, and when I was up to Oshkosh, and then I was over to Reedsburg, I heard Kelda talk twice, or debate, actually, talk once and debate. And I think she can win the thing, and I would like to say to her campaign, hey, spend some money on 15, 10, and 15 and get your message out there. Tonight there's a debate in Madison, and none of the Madison stations are carrying it. I think you got to tune into TMJ in Madison and maybe one in Green Bay.
Well, there is no TMJ in Madison. You won't be able to view that debate in Madison, but if you wanted to tune in, we'll be broadcasting a fine debate of our own right here on Resistance Radio, replaying accurately. Randy Bryce versus Kathy Myers from last Sunday night. There was a lot of interest in that debate the first time we played it. We're going to play it in about 20 minutes immediately following the show. If you can't watch the big gubernatorial 8-some on the TMJ, why don't you tune into Resistance Radio? Our debate is better.
Hey, Paul, I got to ask you, is this becoming a Democrat? This is a recent turn of events for you?
Yes, I used to. Well, I was a lifelong union member, but I prided myself in being a moderate. But the Republican Party has went so far to the right, they just abandoned anybody, I feel, in the middle class. And they use these wedge issues, to drum up votes. So I figured the only way you could change anything or try to change anything was, becoming a member of the Democratic Party. And I've learned a lot.
Like, boy, did you join the wrong party? What did you learn?
But Paul, let me ask you, where before this fine program, WRRD, Devil's Advocates, WTTN, where did you hear any sort of other side of the equation, other side of the coin conversation regarding any political goings-on in this state?
Well, there was really nowhere else to listen. At one time, I won't mention their names, we had some stations in Madison that had talk, liberal talk. But after that was put out, there was nowhere to go to listen to anything. And what I've tried to tell the Democrats whenever I can that AM radio, talk radio, does matter because there's a lot of people like me out there that like to, hear the other side. And the other part of that is you cannot get on the phone and talk to right radio. They won't let you on. They screen you, and if they do let you on, they hang up on you right away. So, there's a lot of people. I don't think the Democrats realize it. There's a lot of people like myself that listen to your station in Madison, in Columbus. Heck, you guys go all the way up to Adams County when I drive up there. But a lot of people don't call in because it's not the easiest thing to do. But they like to listen. And for heaven's sakes, they probably don't want to listen to me all the time. But anyway, but you know what? I don't think they realize for some reason. I guess I could say they poo-poo AM radio. I don't get it, and that's why I've told Kelda and some of the other Dana and Andy, hey guys, get on this radio and run some ads. They don't cost that much. Get your message out because You take Mike McCabe there. He only wants to take $200 per person. But by the time the election rolls around, if he doesn't take any more money, they'll make him look like Jack the Ripper, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So at least Kelda will probably take the money. And, you know, before that I was kind of...
Well, she already cashed the checks. She's got money, $650,000, which, you know...
I'll say it again. Hey, Kelda, get on this radio because there's a lot of listeners out there. In fact, I think there's as many righties listening to your station as lefties.
Hey, come on, that hurts a little, Paul.
Well,
Paul, here's what I would say.
They want to know the truth. What's that?
You want to know the truth, Paul? You want to know the unvarnished truth?
Can you handle the truth, Paul?
It might be too late for Kelda. Kelda's at 2% in polling that came out less than 2 weeks ago. And her reaction was to do absolutely nothing different than she's been doing up until now. Now we're approximately a month and like 3 business days from Election Day in the state of Wisconsin, the primary election. And Kelda Royce at 2% is running like she's the front runner. And she might have done okay in some straw polls, and she might be okay with the insiders. And I have no doubt that she has gotten much stronger as a candidate. You know that I've admired some of her answers, and I think that she could be a fine contrast with Scott Walker. I think she has blown any opportunity to beat Tony Evers. And I think that's the unvarnished truth. I think perhaps the whole field has. The only guy that I'm probably kind of quietly cheering for, not endorsing, but kind of cheering for, is Mike McCabe. Mike McCabe has been out there doing the ground game for like 3 or 4 years. He wrote the Blue G Nation book and effectively went on the gubernatorial campaign trail. He might have this, and I don't think it's a secret, not to him, not to his campaign. You know, when you put 85,000 miles on the car, dodging the Scott holes, and you got 2,500 volunteers around the state of Wisconsin, I think Mike McCabe might have this sort of guerrilla campaign going on below the radar. And he'll probably finish second or third in the race to Tony Evers. And Tony Evers will probably be your eventual nominee. And I don't say that with any glee. You know, he's not my favored candidate. Not personal, but I just don't think he's a great contrast with Walker. But the candidates that could have done something, the window is closing so rapidly, Paul, to affect the electorate. And by the time any of them, because, I mean, I get calls from like these outside media agencies. Hey, did the other guy spend any money? Then we're not spending any money either. They're all watching each other to see who blinks. And the only one that can afford to watch the rest and see who blinks is Tony Evers, because everyone else is trailing him dramatically. And Tony Evers is going to win the Democratic nomination by pure default. By default. None of the rest have done anything to differentiate themselves, to message. And I mean, I don't care how strong you are as a candidate. If no one's ever heard of you, you're going to lose.
I'm scared that he's a 48%er like Barrett and...
he'll make Barrett look real dynamic.
So it's, my God.
Nah, Tony, I mean, maybe I am underestimating the strength of Tony Evers' candidacy. I mean, he's been at 25% pretty much the whole time. He's way in front of the field. He's tripling the second place, whether you consider that McCabe or Matt Flynn. But for those sitting at 2%, I mean, I'm talking to you, Kelda. If you think suddenly you're going to throw out one dynamic breastfeeding ad in the last week of the campaign and people are just going to come running, I think it's a little late then. And I think if they're all waiting for the other one to blink, nobody's blinking. They're all dead-eyed. They're all staring at each other like dead fish. Nobody's blinking, and nobody's doing anything different. And by default, Tony Evers, he's winning. And he might win, and that will not make Crudy exceptionally happy, but, I'll wish him well, and I'll just start gearing up for my own gubernatorial campaign again.
Thanks for the call, Paul. 844-967-2789. One more segment of the day. You can give us a call and let us know what's on your mind. We are the Devil's Advocates on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
I'm sure that debate tonight, that'll turn the tide. The 1 hour televised 8-person debate minus commercial breaks. I'm sure they all get like 3 minutes. That'll turn the tide.
So, do you come to Milwaukee often?
Actually, it's pronounced Milwaukee, which is Algonquin for the good land.
Here at Bounce Milwaukee, we not only want families and friends to build connections, we also want to grow those connections in our community. That's why every Wednesday night from 5 to 8 p.m., we host Refuel the Resistance. It's a great chance to have a drink in our arcade bar, try something from our fantastic restaurant, connect with progressive activists, and support local organizations. For more information about Bounce Milwaukee's Refuel the Resistance, visit us at bouncemilwaukee.com or call 414-312-4357.
Indoor baseball, anyone?
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Everybody buckle up. Mom. Buckle up.
Let's go.
Buckle up.
Can we go to the store? Mom,
buckle
can we get
up.
some ice cream?
Everybody, buckle up.
A lot goes on in the car, but you're in control. So only move when you hear the click that says they're buckled in. Never give up until they buckle up. Learn more at safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You're not wired to have a response to this sound. But when we introduce a new stimulus, Save the Food, we're helping to stop food waste. Save the Food. For tips and recipes, visit savethefood.com. Brought to you by NRDC and the Ad Council.
The Devil's Advocates.
Tom Perez, chair of the Democratic National Committee. Scott Walker went on something of a Twitter storm, very Trumpian. What do you think this foretells for Scott Walker's future as the governor of the state of Wisconsin?
Wisconsinites have woken up. He talked about we need an optimistic message. How can you make people feel optimistic when you take away their health care? How can you make people optimistic when you take away the right to bargain? How can you make people feel optimistic when you're gerrymandering the heck out of districts?
Radio for the 99%.
Here in the Badger State, we have our own expressions. When we're looking to go on vacation, we state, well, let's go up north. Hello, this is Tom Bennett, president of Teamsters Local 200. Here in the Badger State, we also have another expression, union yes. The strength of the labor movement depends on elected officials here in Wisconsin and Washington, D.C. that support the values of working families that raise the standards for all. Give us a call at Teamsters Local 200 at 414-771-6363 or visit our website at www.teamsterslocal200.com or on Facebook at Teamsters Local 200. Be engaged.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
Hi, it's Scott Walker.
Scott, David Koch. How are you?
Hey, David. I'm good. And yourself?
I'm very well.
On February 22, 2011, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker took a call from journalist Ian Murphy pretending to be billionaire political activist David Koch.
What we were thinking about the crowds was planting some troublemakers.
You know, the only problem with because we thought about that.
You just heard Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker say he actually considered planting troublemakers. Scott Walker wrote in his book, "The fact is we never considered putting troublemakers in the crowd to discredit the protesters." He concluded by saying, "But I had made it seem like we had." Call Scott Walker at 608-266-1212. Ask him if he lies to his friends, is he lying to you?
Well, I'll tell you what, Scott. Once you crush these bastards, I'll fly you out to Cali and really show you a good time.
All right, that would be outstanding.
This message paid for by the People for People Corporation.
Save the $2 on tomorrow's paper. Listen to the Devil's Advocates today.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show, WRRD, WTTN, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. Last segment of the day. So if you have an opinion on anything you would like to share with us or the audience, 967-2789.
Dominic, did I mention that we are replaying a little debate tonight? That one, the debate between Kathy Myers and Randy Bryce, that plays out in like 10 minutes.
Oh, nice.
Right here on Resistance Radio. Tomorrow, Dominic, we've got another Dem gubernatorial forum, one that we actually recorded and played out live on Sunday of last week. That was the one in Reedsburg area concerned citizens. So tomorrow night, Friday the 13th, we will play out another Dem gubernatorial function between 6 and 8 p.m. Central Time. Check your local listings. I'm pretty confident it will air sometime between 6 and 8 Central Time.
Do we have local listings? Are we enlisted?
There's supposed to be some form of candidate something in the city of Milwaukee tonight, divided amongst 8 candidates. I'm sure they'll do just fine, Dom. Why message when you got a 8-person 1 hour to debate to differentiate yourself and set yourself apart from all the other fine Dems?
And what, we're 4 weeks plus a few days away from the Democratic primary.
We are.
And I watch a fair amount of television, and I'm on the interwebs quite a bit, and certainly listen to the radio, and I have not seen a whole lot of messaging out anywhere. And I'd like to think I pay somewhat attention, certainly dialed in to what's happening here in the state of Wisconsin, but it just hasn't been. I couldn't tell you any campaigns that I've seen television commercials for or heard radio commercials on. Hell, even jumping on miscellaneous websites, seeing someone's campaign pop up, a picture, a Google ad.
I've seen some Republicans. They're actually out there attacking Malin Mitchell.
Really?
The GOP. They've got digital ads attacking Malin. And there's billboards attacking Tony Evers. Republicans rolled that out as well. Scott Walker rolled out a little fundraising solicitation today.
Oh, yeah?
I don't have it in front of me, Dom, but let's just say he's trying to fundraise off the Dem gubernatorial debate.
What?
He effectively is saying, there are really no good Democratic choices. And, sadly, I find myself thinking, maybe he's right.
Oh, come on.
Perhaps there's just
They're
a
all
wealth of
better
choices
than he is.
Oh,
every
that is certainly the
single
case.
one of them.
Yes, that I agree with. Even you, Tony, you're much better than the current governor, but he is a corrupt bastard who has raised $100 million directly for his campaign and has probably benefited from $100 million in outside spending. And, Kelda threw her big number out there, $650,000. That won't even buy you lots of TV